What if betrayal drowned the Red Dragon Emperor? Only for vengeance to forge the dragon.
Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Betrayed and Became the Black Manta movie. Before we start, please go support Luis Darth 4236 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken characters' gender, but of course Issei is a male. After the defeat of Trihexa, Issei is betrayed by his allies and loved ones, but is found by scientists from Atlantis and becomes the new Black Manta with new powers. Chapter 1. The New Black Manta. Atlantis is an empire that disappeared thousands of years ago without leaving any trace or clue of its location when it disappeared. Many say it sank to the bottom of the ocean, others say it was destroyed by earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Others say that the gods were responsible for the disappearance of Atlantis. But what would happen if Atlantis returned and what things would happen? It turns out that a superhero named Aquaman came out of the sea, who is the king of Atlantis or Atlantis, but they called him Arthur. He was the king of the ocean and did not let the ocean be polluted by any polluter. But he had his warriors and his queen and wife. Both ruled the ocean and took good care of it, but only a few know about Atlantis. But now we are in a place where we see a laboratory where there is a body in a state of hibernation. The scientists who were in the laboratory were from Atlantis because they found a bloody boy near the ocean and they took him to a laboratory to save him. Scientist. Hey, they already brought the device to see your memories, seriously. Scientist 2. Yes sir, here it is, showing a device that looks like virtual reality glasses. They may look like virtual reality glasses, but they serve to show memories created by the Atlanteans. They put the glasses on the boy they found and in that they see his memories. It looks like the boy was called Issei Hyoudou and they saw his life, but there were things that happened to him. First, his first girlfriend was a fallen angel and killed him and was reincarnated by a demon girl named Rias Gremory. They also saw how he became the partner of many girls and all the things he did, like risking his life to protect those he loves, and how he obtained powers, but some were somewhat embarrassing, causing drops of sweat in the scientists. But they saw how Issei's parents were killed by a man named Lucifer, causing sadness on their part. But they saw how he fought against a great beast where he with all his power was able to defeat it but fell badly wounded. After recovering, he became engaged to the women he loved. But months later, they stopped talking to him. But one day they called him, and when he arrived he was stabbed by two of his loved ones, and in that he is betrayed since the leaders of the factions and took away his powers, including the red dragon that was inside him, and this also betrayed him. The leaders also told Issei that he is forbidden to go to their territories and if he entered they would kill him, and that the women Issei loved betrayed him with his new fiancée named Makoto, an ultimate class demon. Later you will see how he dies. After that, they leave them lying near the ocean so that the waves drag them and drown them. At the end, the scientists took off his glasses and everyone was very angry. How could they have committed such betrayals? Why would they have done that to someone who always did the right thing? Scientist. How horrible, disgusted. Scientist 2. They are worse than scum, seriously. In another dimension. Obito was fighting against Kakashi and Naruto, but in that. Death. I don't know why, but someone said something that is true. There are people worse than scum, seriously. Obito continued fighting until he absorbed the Jubi. Returning to the scientists. They healed Issei where they then replaced his damaged organs with new organs that could not get sick. Atlantis has a lot of science and advanced technology, obviously waterproof. They also gave him artificial whites so he could breathe freely in the water. They also gave him a suit and weapons where Issei is then covered with a large helmet with two red eyes so he could see. Has no swords. But Issei began to wake up and saw his new appearance, but he had the suit on. Issei. Where am I? Confused. Scientist. You are in Atlantis, seriously. Issei. Whoa. Scientist. It's a bit complicated, with a drop of sweat. Issei. I see, but why do I have this suit? Curious. Scientist. Long story but we already know about you, Issei Hyoudou, serious. Issei. How do you know my name? Surprised. Scientist 2. We already know about you and you really didn't deserve what they did to you, but now you have nowhere to go, you should stay in Atlantis, smiling. Issei. I don't know their names, seriously. Scientist. My name is Roberto, smiling. Scientist 2. Bruno, smiling. Issei. I see, and how am I going to eat? Curious. Roberto. We have a lot of treasure and you could exchange some jewels for money on the surface or hunt, smiling. Bruno. That's right, and the reason we're not drowning is because of the gills, or that we're in a place where there's no water, to a place in Atlantis where there's no water, since there are quite a few places and we're not where there's water, seriously. Roberto. With or without water we can breathe, but when we leave the water our gills close so as not to attract attention, smiling. Issei. I see, but what exactly did they give me? Curious. Roberto. You'd better find out for yourself, but I'll tell you those fools won't hurt you again, seriously. Issei comes out and was able to swim quickly and was able to fly because his feet had propellants that worked in the water. He arrives at an island where he had enhanced vision and could shoot lasers from his eyes. Issei. Wow, this is great, smiling. He tries another skill and a technological sword appears. Then he tried other skills like Parker, super strength, incredible resistance among other skills. Issei decided to stay in Atlantis to get to know it better. What happened? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 2 Fight Aquaman vs Black Manta. Issei was previously betrayed by the factions and was found by the Atlanteans from the underwater kingdom known as Atlantis. This one had an armor that looks like a diving suit but with a helmet with 2 red eyes. He called himself Black Manta, where he developed other powers such as manipulating elements. The Atlanteans gave him special powers such as manipulating elements and controlling technology with his mind. Black Manta could talk to sharks and swim at great speeds where he could make tornadoes or whirlpools in the water. But even if it is not in the water, it is a very difficult being to defeat since its strength is so great that just by bending its neck, it kills its enemy instantly. This one runs faster than an Olympic sprinter. In resistance, gunshots did not affect him at all, and neither did stabbings. In skills, he is an expert in combat with or without weapons. He never missed a shot and had great weapons. It is very powerful like Devil May Cry's firearms and has infinite ammunition. He can also make swords with nanotechnology. Returning to the present. Issei was in the kingdom of Atlantis, but he would see that the technology was very advanced. Issei. I like Atlantis and I plan to build my empire, but I'm not going to enslave anyone, but I will go to an island where it hasn't been used in quite some time, seriously. This explores the place of Atlantis where he would later find an uninhabited island. But at that moment the king of Atlantis, Aquaman, appears. Aquaman. And you are looking at Issei. This one takes off his helmet where Aquaman sees him. Issei. Issei is my name and I'm from Japan, or rather I was, serious. Aquaman. Here as that happened, seriously. Issei. It's a bit complicated, but you are the king of an empire that has been gone for thousands of years, seriously. Issei knew he shouldn't lie to her and told her everything that happened from when he was killed by his first girlfriend until he was betrayed. Aquaman was shocked by this revelation, but at the same time he was angry how they could do that to Issei. Aquaman. Damn you, how dare you do that to someone who always helped you, annoyed. Issei. I don't know what I did wrong, sad. Aquaman. You didn't do anything wrong, they just didn't know how to value you, seriously. Issei. He's right, but now that he brings him to this island, curious. Aquaman. I came to investigate one of the islands in my kingdom. What are you planning to do here? Seriously. Issei. It's easy to build a city, but I won't damage the ocean since I have something planned, but I don't want any problems, seriously. Aquaman. I see, but how are you going to build a city? Seriously. Issei. I know what I have to do, but only if you allow it since I'm not someone who invades a kingdom, seriously. Aquaman. I see you want to make your empire, but anyway this island hasn't been used in years and it's the same size as New York, so I'll let you do it, but with one condition, seriously. Issei. Which one, curious. Aquaman. Let's have a fight. If you win, you'll have the island, but if you lose, you'll have to leave Atlantis, seriously. Issei. Done, smiling. Then in Atlantis the news of the battle between Aquaman and Black Manta spread where many arrived at the combat area. In the throne room sat Mera, Aquaman's wife. Mera. It's true that my beloved is going to fight, seriously. The guards nod where Mera looked at the combat area. At that moment, the referee appears in the center of the combat arena. Referee. Greetings people of Atlantis, welcome to the battle of this day, excited. Many applauded this presentation where the referee would later speak. Referee. On this side we have our king and ruler of Atlantis, our king Aquaman, excited. Aquaman makes an incredible entrance where many applauded. Referee. And on this side we have a great warrior who has incredible skills. Alleviate Issei alias Black Manta, smiling. At that moment Black Manta would come out giving a great presentation where many looked at him with impression. Referee. Well, I want a clean fight, no kidney hits, no rabbit punches, no eye pokery or bites, seriously. So both prepare to fight where each one stared at each other. But in Issei's case, his gaze was not noticeable due to Black Manta's helmet. Referee. 1 2 3 let's fight, excited. Now comes the cool part. The fight between the king of Atlantis and Black Manta. The little music for the fight. At that moment Aquaman launches himself against Black Manta where both started a fight. Both fought in a fairly even manner. Both of them were punching each other very synchronized, but in a moment of carelessness, Aquaman hits Black Manta, sending him flying. But Black Manta gets back up. Black Manta. Good hit, serious. Aquaman launches himself where both clashed fists and kicks, where all the Atlanteans saw how both gave a great fight. In a moment of carelessness, Black Manta grabs Aquaman and slams him into the ground. Aquaman. I have to admit that hurt, removing some hairs he had in his mouth. Black Manta. What if we stop warming up, mocking? Aquaman. Now let's fight for real, challenger. Everyone had their jaws on the floor. Perhaps this whole fight was just a warm-up. Aquaman would use his trident where he would activate his power. At that moment Black Manta would take out a spear. Black Manta. To be even, seriously. So they both started a fight where they were both evenly matched. Aquaman was fighting, but then he calls a seahorse to attack Black Manta. But Black Manta was not far behind, where he called a shark, where there was a chase where both continued to fight. But in that, Black Manta uses some powers where he throws Aquaman off the seahorse, but the horse went after him, avoiding a fall. But at that moment Black Manta makes a good strategy where he knocks down Aquaman and the seahorse, where they both fell. But Aquaman destroys Black Manta's spear. But that didn't stop Aquaman, but Black Manta summons a sword and uses it against Aquaman, but he breaks it without much trouble. But that didn't stop Black Manta, but at that moment he summons a futuristic sword. But now Black Manta summons Stone Hands where he now had a great fight against Aquaman. But at that moment to finish Aquaman creates a water dragon where it throws him. But Black Manta launches another attack but charged with energy. Thus both attacks collided with each other, creating a clash of powers. So both gave everything in the attack, but at that moment Black Manta gave everything in the attack as did Aquaman. But the attack begins to be unstable where at the end there was a big explosion. Music ends. Nobody could see who won or who lost, but the smoke slowly began to disappear, and when everything became clear, they saw the battle arena had a crater. But everyone saw Aquaman lying on the ground with a trident, but he was injured, but in the end he fell to the ground, extremely exhausted. But Black Manta was up, but with many wounds and some parts bleeding. Referee. It's incredible King Aquaman was defeated. The winner is Issei alias Black Manta, surprised. But Black Manta couldn't hold on any longer and fell to the ground, tired. Later in the infirmary. Aquaman and Black Manta were lying on the beds in the room, but Issei was waking up. Issei. Who just passed by, agitated. But he remembered the fight where he managed to beat Aquaman, but he fainted from his wounds and exhaustion. Aquaman. I see you're awake, smiling. Issei. How long have you been awake? Curious. Aquaman. I woke up before you, but I must admit you beat me, smiling. Issei. But I fainted, seriously. Aquaman. But at least you were able to beat me. Only a few beat me, excited. Issei. Okay, what about the island, curious. Aquaman. You won so keep it, but I'll help you build a city, smiling. After that she would enter where she approaches her husband. Mera. Dear, are you okay? Worried. Aquaman. I'm fine, dear, smiling. Mera. I thought I had lost you like our baby, sad. Aquaman. That won't happen, seriously. Issei. Hey, I know I shouldn't get involved, but what are you talking about? Curious. Aquaman. You see, years ago Mera and I had a baby, but unfortunately our baby was stolen and we could never find it, seriously. Issei is not the lost son of Aquaman and Mera is someone else. Issei. I see and sorry for getting involved in something that was none of my business, seriously. After that Issei was now the owner of the island where he could build a kingdom to rule. After recovering from the battle, Issei revealed in a conference that he would not be the king of Atlantis, but he would rule the island that is the size of New York. Issei with the help of Aquaman and the Atlanteans builds the city, but this city was from the future. The city was Issei's new empire, but he had to give his city a name. This is what I call New Devon, where Issei would give home to those who were homeless or those who were unjustly exiled. New Devon was the name of the pirate neighborhood. Those who have played Uncharted 4 should already know what I'm talking about. Afterwards Issei offered housing to those who were homeless and employment as well. Issei also offered water to the thirsty in some parts of the world through resources. Nobody knows who sends the water. Now Issei had a territory to take care of, see what happened in the next chapter. Chapter 3 Members. Issei alias Black Manta had managed to build a city where living beings, whether humans, machines or beings of other races, would not be discriminated against by anyone. Issei was in a palace that was in the city. Issei had a lot to do, taking care of his empire so that no one would be enslaved by the factions. Present. Issei was in his Black Manta suit being in his palace where he was waiting for his guests. Issei. My guests will arrive soon, smiling, but it wasn't noticeable because of the helmet. After that the doors are opened where two boys come out, one had brown hair with glasses. Naoto Hachioji. The other had dark hair and a flower on his head. Hidehito Tadano. Naoto is a boy who has a passion for art. He has great talent and used to study at a school. He met a girl named Nagatoro and other girls like Sona, Hana, Geimo, Paze, Yashi, Sakura, Nikoba, Sestoro, Rabi and Orihara. Naoto was called senpai and over time he fell in love with Nagatoro and both were happy. But surprisingly the others had feelings for Naoto and he accepted them as his girlfriends. But Naoto's happiness ended because of something or rather someone. A new boy named Lester arrived who was a more experienced painter than Naoto. Afterwards Nagatoro and the others will spend more time with Lester, making Naoto feel lonely. Naoto didn't understand why Nagatoro and the others didn't spend time with him. Whenever he asked them about going on a date, they said they were busy or couldn't go. Also when he called them they did not answer his calls or messages. One afternoon Naoto decided to go to the art club and heard moans, where he later observed Nagatoro and the others having hex with Lester and saying things like, "Ah Lester-kun, you are better than Naoto. You're better than that fool Naoto. More fill me with your seed Things like that and Naoto left sadly without making a noise. His girlfriends had betrayed him for Lester. After that came another day where Naoto was called to the principal's office where he was told that he was expelled. It turns out that the principal was played a prank where she dropped buckets of paint and water balloons on her and then she got stuck to her chair because they put glue on her chair and the school cook had to remove her from the chair. But suspicions fell on Naoto as they found the balloons and the glue that was used in the prank. Naoto said he didn't do it, but nobody believed him and that's when Nagatoro and the others finish him off. When he returned home, Naoto was kicked out of his house because his parents told him that he had cheated on the girls, which wasn't true, and about the joke, they told him never to come back. Naoto knew that Lester was to blame for him ending up like this and swore revenge against Lester. Naoto tried to sell paintings to make a living, but no one wanted to buy them, but he lost hope, but it didn't last long. It turns out that Issei found Naoto and offered him to live in his empire. He accepted and Issei gave him a house to live in. Naoto's house. Naoto sold his paintings in his new home where people paid him well. His fame was so great that he opened a museum of modern art. But Naoto had powers like drawing things that become reality and he has a special suit. But also a nanotechnologist sword. Tadano has a somewhat different story than Naoto. Tadano entered the Iton Academy, an exclusive academy, but he managed to get in. He met a girl named Shoko Komi, a popular girl, but she didn't talk much because she has communication problems. They treated her like a goddess, even naming her the class goddess. When he met her, Tadano knew she had communication problems since it was quite noticeable, but he was willing to help Komi have 100 friends. It was not an easy task, but Tadano helped in any way he could. He made several friends, some of them a bit strange, but little by little Komi's dream was coming true. When Komi's dream came true, he confessed his feelings to her and she accepted them, becoming Tadano's girlfriend. Tadano was a good boyfriend, although sometimes he was a bit clumsy, but that didn't matter to him. Tadano was happy with her, but one day everything fell apart. A student named Seth arrived, a very popular boy who stood out better than Tadano. When Seth arrived at the Komi Academy, he began to notice him. He met him behind Tadano's back. As time went by, Komi and Tadano's other friends distanced themselves from him and spent more time with Seth. One day Tadano bought gifts for Komi, they were not easy to get, but he managed to do it. He arrived and waited for Komi, but she never arrived and he started looking for her until he found her kissing Seth. Tadano was in shock. His girlfriend had betrayed him. He left crying. He doesn't know what he did wrong for Komi to do that to him. Later when classes ended Tadano walked away with a lost look, but when he turned a corner he was horrified. In front of him were two lifeless bodies of girls. These had marks on their necks and their stomachs were open and had signs of having been raped and tortured to death. Tadano left so as not to see that anymore and left as quickly as he could. But the next day at the academy, Tadano was calm until the police suddenly arrived with a SWAT squad and arrested Tadano. It turns out that Tadano was accused of killing the women who were tortured and Tadano was taken to trial. At the trial, Tadano said that he did not kill those women because he never did anything like that, but nobody believed him and even his friends turned against him, well, not all of them. When it was time to show evidence they showed that they found a Tadano jacket at the crime scene. Tadano said he lent it to Seth, but he said it wasn't true. They also showed knives and a rope with blood, the same weapons that were used in the crime. Also a video where Tadano was seen trying to have sex with those women, but they refused and he raped them and tortured them to death. Tadano was later found guilty of murdering the women and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Tadano was going to be put in a police van, but then Komi slapped him and I told him through a notebook that I didn't want anything to do with him. The others also hit him, but Komi's father came up and punched him in the face and said, "Masayoshi. Rot in jail, you damn murderer," annoyed. After Tadano put him in the truck, he begged them not to lock him up and that he didn't kill anyone, but no one listened to him. Tadano was sent to prison where the guards treated him horribly. The prisoners knew that Tadano did not kill anyone and they supported him. Tadano had a horrible time in prison where one day he escaped from prison, but the guards chased him until several of them shot him. Tadano thought it was his end, but then he heard gunshots and saw a being that started killing the police officers. He saw a guy in a dark suit and a big helmet with two big red eyes and told him his name was Black Manta and he saved him. Then he introduces himself as Issei and he tells him his story and he also told him that he would help him with his revenge. Tadano joined Issei because if it weren't for him he would already be dead. Tadano went to live in New Devon where Issei gave him a house to live in. Tadano's house. Tadano also found a ring that gives him powers and was red. Tadano was a red lantern and his power was anger since he had a goal. To get revenge on Seth for what he did to him and his ex-friends and ex-girlfriend for abandoning him. Tadano knew how to control himself since he did not completely lose his sanity. Naoto and Tadano became friends with Issei and they trained to be strong. Now Issei has new friends with powers, what will happen? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 4. Failed Invasion. Issei had recruited Naoto and Hidehito since they suffered a cruel betrayal, Naoto because they accused him of a joke and Hidehito because they blamed him for 2 murders. They had powers like Naoto had an armor created by Issei. Tadano was a red lantern whose source of power is anger. Present. Issei was in the ocean since he received a call from Aquaman where upon arrival he would be received by the king of Atlantis. Aquaman. Issei, seriously. Issei. What's up, curious? Aquaman. I have something that is serious. Issei. What's the problem? Curious. Aquaman. Some demons and fallen angels are trying to find my kingdom and I know very well that their intentions are not good, seriously. Issei. You have a spy camera, seriously. Aquaman. Yes, seriously. This shows a computer where Issei sees some fallen angels and demons, but from their features they were renegade demons. Issei. I know who they are from the Chaos Brigade, seriously. Aquaman. But you said they were defeated, seriously. Issei. Apparently they are still alive, but I must kill them before they hurt someone, seriously. This would take out a futuristic weapon that had the following form. Issei. Let's go hunting, seriously. Aquaman would take out his trident ready to fight. Aquaman. I'm ready, seriously. Both of them come out of the water where they would see the renegade demons and fallen angels. Issei shoots all the renegade demons killing them, but some fallen were being attacked by Aquaman. But Issei dodges an attack and saw the person responsible, it was Gabriel. Black Manta, Gabriel, Sirio. Gabriel. Well, who do we have here? Mocking. Black Manta. Who sent you here? Seriously. Gabriel. My boss sent us to steal technology from this place and enslave the people, smiling maliciously. Black Manta. Oh no, I won't let you do that, you damn bird, seriously. Gabriel creates a large spear of light, but Black Manta dodges it. But Black Manta was more agile than Gabriel, and that's why Black Manta created a weapon. Black Manta attacks Gabriel with his weapon, where both were quite even. But Black Manta dodges an attack and saw that Gabriel launched another attack. Gabriel began to get impatient where he created a rain of light spears, but Black Manta used his heat vision. Heat vision destroys all the light spears, and Black Manta uses his heat vision to cut off Gabriel's arm. Gabriel. Grabbing the area where he used to have an arm. Black Manta. Now he suffers scum, seriously. This one attacks Gabriel again where after that he would massacre the cadre where after Gabriel was messed up. Gabriel. Quai, who are you really, dying? Black Manta takes off his mask revealing his face. Gabriel. You are supposed to have been killed by the factions, dying. Issei. See you later, damn bird, take out some guns. This one shoots Gabriel. Gabriel was shot in the head and died instantly. Issei puts his helmet back on where he saw that now the invasion had gone wrong and his kingdom was safe. Aquaman had defeated the demons and fallen angels and they were destroyed and those who survived were imprisoned. Later. Issei was in an interrogation room was a chained demon. Black Manta. Now speak up because cheap demons invaded my territory, seriously. Demon. You think I'm going to tell you, idiot, haha, mockingly. But Black Manta would take out a dagger that had the following appearance. Demon. What are you going to do? Take my eyes out, mockingly. Black Manta. Oh no, I won't do that, seriously. Demon. If you cut off my fingers I won't talk, annoyed. Black Manta. Oh yes, I'm going to cut something, but it won't be your fingers. Let's just say that you won't be able to have children anymore, demonic voice. This one points to the little demon thing, and that's when he felt true terror. Black Manta. You said you wouldn't talk, so let's just say you can lose what makes you a man, mocking. The demon started to get scared, he knew what Black Manta was talking about. Demon. Wait, I'll talk, but don't do anything to me, scared. Black Manta moves the dagger away, but does not let his guard down. Demon. Rizivam Sama became interested in this realm and wanted to steal the technology for the Chaos Brigade, scared. Black Manta. Wait, Rizivam isn't dead, seriously. Demon. In fact, he is alive since the one killed by the factions was a clone, seriously. Black Manta was angry, but he grabbed him and hit him so hard that he was unconscious. Black Manta. Damn Rizivam, you always hide like the rat you are, annoyed. He then leaves the interrogation room where he later orders the demon to be locked up on the path to perdition. The Path of Perdition is the name of the prison in New Devon. Issei was frustrated. How is it possible that the rat that caused him so much trouble is still alive? Issei knew that Rizivam would do everything possible to fulfill his ambitions. Elsewhere. We see the heroes faction ready to invade New Devon. Kuoh. You know what we have to do, seriously. Leonard. Yes, Kuoh will steal New Devon's technology and bring slaves to Rizivam Sama, seriously. They were going to attack, but then someone appeared, but he had a hood and you could barely see his face. Kuoh. Who are you, seriously? But the hooded man did not respond. Leonard. You're scared, mockingly. But the hooded man rolls up his sleeve a little, showing a strange watch. Kuoh and his allies launched an attack on him, but the hooded man was more agile than them. Siegfried would take out his extra arms and swords. Siegfried. Fool, now you're lost, mockingly. But the hooded man activates his watch where he then selects something and presses his watch. In this way, it becomes a being made of diamond but with negative colors. The diamond being would say something. Diamond. I see that surprises you, muffled voice. Siegfried. I don't care if you changed your appearance, you won't be able to stop me, arrogant. He launches himself to attack him, but Diamond shoots some diamond bullets where Siegfried blocked them with his swords. But Diamond turns his hand into a sword. He runs, and when Siegfried is careless, Diamond cuts his arm. Siegfried screams in pain, but then Diamond uses his powers and encloses Siegfried in a huge crystal. But then he grabs the badge and presses it, and his appearance changes. Now he had red skin, 4 dark eyes, and 4 arms with dark clothes. 4 arms. Time to say goodbye, seriously. This hits the diamond where Siegfried was locked and it falls into pieces. Kuoh and the others saw how this being killed Siegfried, but Heracles launched himself to attack him where 4 arms attacked him without much problem. Heracles tried, but the lower arms of 4 arms grabbed him. Heracles is sent flying by 4 arms where he then hits him, but in doing so Heracles broke his hand and it felt like he hit the hardest material in the world. 4 arms grab his badge where he presses it and changes. Alien now had a different appearance. Now it had a gorilla-like appearance and dark colors and had some holes similar to those of a plug. Shock squitch time to get electric, mocking. But now they fight Kuoh and Leonard and they launched themselves to attack him. Jean was going to attack them, but then someone attacked her, it was a girl. In case you have questions, she is Santanica Pandemonium and she is a vampire from the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, which was directed by Robert Rodriguez, the same one from Spy Kids, and has a series of movies and a series, but in the first movie the girl was played by Salma Hayek, but in the series it is another actress, but her human name is Esmeralda. Santanica. You know how to attack from behind, you're a coward, seriously. Jean activates her sacred gear to fight, but Santanica knew what she had to do. In the fight. Shocksquitch was fighting Leonard and Kuoh. Shocksquitch creates a powerful lightning attack. Kuoh was able to dodge it, but Leonard was not so lucky and the attack ended up disintegrating him. Kuoh angrily uses his best techniques, but Shocksquitch is surrounded by an aura and now he is back to being the same headed man. Kuoh. I see you're out of time, arrogant. He uses his spear to attack him, but the hooded man defended himself very well. But when Kuoh attacks again with his spear, the hooded man stops it. I see that you are not worthy of carrying it, idiot, muffled voice. He kicks Kuoh in the bottoms, causing him to fall to the ground. But the hooded man takes the spear away from him and sends him flying like a ball. The true Longinus chose a new carrier. Kuoh, seeing that the hooded man had his spear, got quite angry. Kuoh. Give me back my spear, annoyed. He attacked the hooded man, but he defended himself as if nothing had happened. Kuoh tries to attack him, but the hooded man kicks him in the butt. But Kuoh goes through several rocks and then is quite injured. You're not a hero, you're just scum, but now goodbye trash, muffled voice. This one with the spear cuts off Kuoh's head, killing him. Now Kuoh and the others have fallen, therefore the faction of heroes has ceased to exist. This one puts Kuoh's head in a box, but puts a note in said box. Then Santanico appears with a defeated Jean since the blonde couldn't beat the vampire. Santanico. She couldn't beat me, mockingly. The hooded man appears where the vampire saw the hooded man. Santanico. I see you have a new weapon, my love, smiling. The hooded man takes off his hood revealing his face. It was a white-haired boy with blue eyes. He has the clothes from the hooded man's image. The albino approaches Santanico and they both kiss. Santanico. How is my love, or rather Lincoln? Smiling. The now known as Lincoln would speak. Lincoln. Now I have my new tool, my beautiful girlfriend, smiling. The vampire and the albino kiss, but then both leave the combat zone. But the girl takes Jean with her. Now it is known that Rizavam is still alive and a boy along with his girlfriend defeated the heroes faction. What will happen? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 5 Karma Part 1. Previously, New Devon was invaded by Chaos Brigade soldiers, but through interrogation it was revealed that Rizavam Lucifer is still alive. Present. Issei was in his laboratory that he had in his castle. He was working on a mosquito robot to spy on some places where a normal person couldn't. Then he showed it to Naoto and to Dano. To Dano. I would like to know what happened in the city where I used to live, seriously. Issei. Understood, seriously. So this activates the spy robot where the robot then teleports to the city where Hyoudou used to live. In the recording, they hear cries, and the robot approaches a house where a girl with blonde hair and dark skin is seen crying, hugging a photo of herself with Hyoudou. Hyoudou. Wait, Rumiko, surprised. Issei. You know her, confused. Hyoudou. Yes, she was always by my side before I was betrayed and I see that she misses me a lot, sad. Issei. Take advantage of Hyoudou, go for it, and if you see that bastard who ruined your life, kill him, seriously. Hyoudou thought about it and it was true, he could take advantage of it to kill the wretch who ruined his life. Hyoudou. I'll go get my Rumiko and I won't leave her alone, seriously. This activates his ring of rage power and becomes a red lantern, but his hair was now different. He flew away to go to his old home and kill Seth for what he did to him. And what happened during the time Hyoudou was in New Devon? Well, after Hyoudou was locked up in jail, Shako forgot about Hyoudou and was more attached to Seth. Even Hyoudou's ex-friend spent time with him, but not everyone turned their backs on Hyoudou when he was locked up. Hitomi and her mother missed him, and they knew that Hyoudou was not capable of killing someone like that. But Rumiko also missed him a lot, but she wasn't the only one who missed him, it was Nakanaka. After that Makoto, Nerus and Kamitani began to suspect Seth. As there are two Makoto so they don't get confused, the son of a bitch will be called Makoto, scum, and the blonde one will be called Makoto, cat eye, so they don't confuse the scum Makoto with the good Makoto friend of Tadano. The three knew that Hyoudou did not know those women he supposedly killed. But when they started following Seth, they followed him without him realizing it. But then they hide behind a car where they see Seth talking to someone. There Seth revealed that he belongs to the Yakuza and that he is the real murderer of those women and that he blamed him, and it turns out that those women that Seth killed were his girlfriends, but they were unfaithful to him. Makoto and his friends were angry that Seth was the real culprit of those murders and blamed Hyoudou to get him out of the way. But Makoto, Nerus and Kamitani took pictures obviously without flash and recorded the conversation and they left without being seen. There they showed the evidence to Jean and Hitomi where they got angry with Seth. The next day at the academy they meet with their former friends and they showed them the tests where Seth started laughing in a manic way. Seth. That's right, I'm the real killer and I blame Tadano for the crime, mockingly. Everyone except Makoto and his friends were in shock and wanted to attack Seth, but they couldn't because he threw a smoke bomb where he escaped. Since that day, Shako was hurt by Hyoudou's betrayal by a scumbag, but she and the traitors went to show the evidence in order to free Hyoudou, but they were surprised to find that he escaped from prison. From that day on the truth came to light where Hyoudou is innocent and Seth is guilty. They searched for Hyoudou, but there was no trace of him, it was as if the earth had swallowed him. But this was not the only karma that happened, see it in the next chapter. Chapter 6 Karma Part 2. It was previously revealed that many things happened in the city where Hyoudou used to live before he was imprisoned. First, Shako's new boyfriend was the real killer of those women that Hyoudou supposedly killed. Present. We are in the underworld where we see everyone Issei once protected with faces of regret. How did it end like this? Here is the answer to how it all happened. Well, it turns out that after they abandoned Issei, the leaders named Makoto, scum, the new pillar of the factions. But there is a saying that we see faces, but we don't know hearts, or you don't know who is hiding under the mask. It turns out that Makoto, scum, was actually an infiltrator of the Chaos Brigade and this revealed that Rizavam was still alive. But before he could do anything, Makoto was killed, and this is how it happened. Flashback. We are with the leaders who were at a ceremony for Makoto's come to get engaged to the girls. Sirzechs. We are gathered here so that Makoto, our pillar of the factions, can get engaged to the girls of the factions, smiling. Everyone claps for this and Makoto just smiles. Sirzechs. Now Makoto comes up so you can say a few words, smiling. At that Makoto's come gets up and goes up to the stage where he would later say a few words. Makoto's come. Thank you all for this important event and I have something to say, smiling. At that he started to laugh in a sinister way. At that point several renegade demons went to attack where he later said. Makoto's come. Fools, I can't believe you fell into my trap, mocking. Sirzechs. What are you saying? Confused. Makoto's come. It's simple, I'm a spy for the Chaos Brigade, laughing like crazy. Everyone was surprised by this revelation that their new pillar was nothing more than a spy for the Chaos Brigade. Rias. Makoto, what you're saying isn't true, with small tears. Makoto. It's true what I said and you brainless boars, I never loved you, I only used you. Rizavum Sama hired me to make you trust me and then get rid of Hyoudou, Issei, mockingly. At that the girls burst into tears and scream. Issei's ex. What have we done, crying. The leaders felt worse, but then they heard glass breaking and they saw a being who was wearing a black suit with a large helmet with two red eyes with some swords. It was Issei, but with the helmet they didn't recognize him and he hid his aura. Black Manta. I was right, you're an infiltrator of the Chaos Brigade, seriously. The helmet alters Issei's voice so he is not recognized. Makoto, scum. Who are you, arrogant? Black Manta. I am Black Manta and now you will pay for everything, seriously. Makoto, scum. What are you doing, fool? Mocking. Black Manta shoots lasers from his eyes. The laser hit Makoto, scum, in the stomach and he angrily pulled out a sword and began to attack him, but Black Manta was quite agile. Black Manta attacked him quickly and accurately, then Makoto, scum, enraged by this, attacked him, now activating the dragon armor. Makoto, scum. Let's see who laughs last, mocking. This one began to attack Black Manta where then the dark being attacks Makoto, scum, and both were very evenly matched. But then Black Manta pulls out a futuristic sword. This fight where he was doing great damage to Makoto, scum. Then Black Manta summons a kind of hammer and hits Makoto, scum. After that Makoto, scum, was going to use the Juggernaut drive, but at that moment Black Manta cuts off his arm. Makoto, scum. Ah. Then he cuts off his other arm where he then destroys the armor where only the green gem remains. After that, Black Manta ends up cutting off his head and then burning the corpse. The renegade demons, seeing how Makoto, scum, died, some decided to flee, but the others went to fight Black Manta, but he burned them to dust. Black Manta. One less scum, you damn Rizavum. He was going to leave but was stopped by the leaders. Sirzechs. Who are you, seriously? Black Manta. My name is Black Manta and I won't tell you my real name, cold. Azazel. Ah no, what are you going to do, huh? Mockingly. But Black Manta throws a paint grenade at him, leaving the leaders all stained and he escapes with a teleportation. End of flashback. Since that day the factions search for Issei, but there was no trace of him, it was as if the earth had swallowed him. But they also didn't know who Black Manta was since he didn't reveal his real name. But Hyoudou. He was looking for Rumiko where he managed to find her house, but then from the window he saw Rumiko. Rumiko was crying while hugging a photo of herself with Hyoudou. Hyoudou didn't want to see her like that and then he knocks on the window. Rumiko, seeing who was knocking on the window, saw that it was Hyoudou. Rumiko. Hyoudou, in shock. Hyoudou. Rumiko, smiling. She opened her window and threw herself at Hyoudou. The black-haired man felt the mountains of Rumiko's chest against his torso. Rumiko. Hyoudou, I missed you so much, crying. Hyoudou. Don't cry anymore Rumiko, I'm here and I won't leave you alone again, smiling. She cried louder now Hyoudou was by her side and then she took him by the cheeks and kissed him on the lips. Hyoudou was very red because of this and accepted the blonde's kiss. Hyoudou. I love you Rumiko, blushing. Rumiko. I love you too, Hyoudou, blushing. Hyoudou. Do you want to be my girlfriend? Blushing. Rumiko. Yes I want to be your girlfriend, crying with joy. In that, Rumiko kissed Hyoudou again. Now the black-haired man has a new opportunity to love, but he knows that Rumiko will not be the only girlfriend he will have to go through. See it in the next chapter. Chapter 7 Karma Part 3. We are in the ancient city of Naoto where the girls are all seen with sad expressions and regret. Just like Naoto's parents since they were more sad and depressed because they miss Naoto. You may wonder what happened, well, here is the answer. After expelling Naoto and kicking him out of the house, Nagatoro and the girls spent more time with Lester, and Naoto's parents took him back as their son. At first everything was going well, but there is a saying. We see faces, but we do not know hearts. Lester started behaving quite jealously and wouldn't let the girls hang out with other boys. Also, when there were art fairs, Lester took all the credit for the paintings that Nagatoro and the others made. Also, if they refused to do him a favor, he would hit them. Nagatoro couldn't stand this, and the others decided to confront Lester, where he laughed in an evil way. It was there that Lester revealed that he is a womanizer and that he was the one who made the joke on the director and blamed Naoto, and also that he was nothing more than a womanizer and that he never loved them and that he only used them. Nagatoro and the others felt dirty and wanted to attack him, but he had escaped. They searched for Naoto but couldn't find him anywhere, but they ran into Hana and Sona. They weren't happy to see them. They knew about Naoto being accused of making the joke. Hana. They are damn. First they abandoned Naoto and now they want him back. They are wrong, annoyed. Sona. They are worse than trash, annoyed. Then they both leave, leaving the bitches who abandoned Naoto alone. Returning to the present. Hana and Sona were looking for Naoto, but there was no trace of him. Little by little they were losing hope of seeing him again and saying what they felt for him. With Naoto. This was in the kingdom of New Devon in their Museum of Modern Art. Naoto's art museum was making a lot of money as the people of New Devon appreciated Naoto's art. Naoto felt that something was missing since he missed Hana and Sona. He decided to go for them since he missed them. Naoto. I'll go for you, Hana and Sona, seriously. Naoto set out to leave to look for Hana and Sona. With Issei. He was on his throne with the Black Manta suit, and then Naoto came in and explained everything that was happening because he missed the girls who didn't betray him. Issei. I understand. Naoto, go for them, smiling. Naoto. Thank you, smiling. So Naoto went for Hana and Sona so that they wouldn't be sad anymore. But Hana and Sona. Both were crying as they were losing hope of seeing him again, but then they saw a portal open and they didn't know what was happening, but then Naoto came out. Naoto. Girls, I'm glad to see you again, smiling. The two of them, upon seeing him, couldn't help but blush and get happy and jumped on Naoto, giving him a hug. Hana. Naoto-kun, I missed you so much, crying. Sona. Don't leave us alone again, crying. Naoto. Okay, girls, I'm not going anywhere. I've come for you, smiling. The two of them, upon hearing that, cried with joy, and after a while they calmed down and asked Naoto questions. Hana. Naoto-kun, what has become of you since you were kicked out of your house, curious. Naoto. They deserve to know the truth, seriously. At that, Naoto began to tell everything that happened after he was kicked out of school and his old home, and how he now lives in a better place, and how he opened an art museum. The two were surprised but were happy that at least Naoto is in a place where they at least appreciate art better. Hana. Wow, Naoto-kun, it's amazing that you have an art museum, surprised. Sona. Naoto-kun, can we go live with you? Blushing. Naoto. Of course, smiling. But at that moment a voice is heard. Wow, but he is the fool, Naoto, mockingly. Then they turn around and see none other than Lester, the same one who ruined Naoto's life. Naoto. What are you doing here, you piece of trash? Cold. Lester. It's not obvious I came for them, pointing at Hana and Sona. Hana. Go away, you piece of trash, annoyed. Sona. We don't want to be with you, you piece of trash, annoyed. Lester. Then it will be by force, snapping his fingers. Then several Yakuza appear with guns pointing at the girls and Naoto. Lester. Oh, come to me or I'll kill you, arrogant. Naoto. You'll pay, damn you, annoyed. He activates his nanotechnology armor, but it had another design. Where he would later take out his sword, and then the Yakuza started shooting at Naoto, but his suit was bulletproof. This one cuts off the heads of the Yakuza in a pretty quick manner. Lester at that moment activates an armor that he had. It was thus that both began to fight, where both fought equally. Lester. Idiot, don't you know that I stole this from a lab? Without a doubt your armor is going to be destroyed, arrogant. Naoto. What do you care, seriously? So both continued fighting, but then both clashed their swords, where both did not stop clashing their swords. After a carelessness, Naoto launches an attack from his armor, causing Lester to crash into a wall. But that doesn't end there, since Naoto was smarter, and then he started to fly, where he grabbed Lester, and they rose up, where he then dropped him. Lester's armor suffered quite a bit of damage and he tried to get up, but Naoto started to hit him like he was a doll. Then Lester's armor was now damaged, and in that Naoto rips off his helmet, and not only that, he destroys his armor. Lester was all beaten up since the blows Naoto gave him damaged him quite a bit. Naoto. Last words, cold. Lester. Please let me go, scared. Naoto. It's already late, 2 years late, cold. Naoto at that moment with his sword began to cut Lester into pieces, thus ending his life. Then Naoto launches an attack that turns Lester's remains into dust. Naoto. Now this piece of trash will never bother anyone again, cold. Hana and Sona run and hug Naoto, who then decides to leave, but the two girls go with Naoto to New Devon. Now Naoto takes revenge on the scum who ruined his life. What will happen? Watch it in the next chapter. Chapter 8. Revenge completed. Previously, Naoto was seen getting revenge on the scum who ruined his life by killing him and taking Hana and Sona to New Devon. Present. Now we focus on Hidehito, who would use his red lantern power, activating his power of anger. Hidehito was with his girlfriend Rumiko, who are now an official couple, but she knew about the power of Hidehito's anger. Hidehito. Rumiko, do you know what happened to my sister and my mother? Curious. Rumiko. Well, Hitomi became depressed and moved away from the Komi family because she didn't want anything to do with that family. You thought you were a murderer. Well, your mother cries day and night and only goes out to work or to buy things, but there isn't a day when she isn't sad, it would be. At that, Hidehito felt bad because his mother and sister suffered so much, but he didn't want them to continue like that. Then Hidehito grabbed Rumiko by the waist and she started to fly, and they went to the Tadano residence. This arrived in a blink of an eye where he later entered since he had a key, since despite the fact that they sent him to jail, they did not take away the key to his house since he hid it very well so that they would not take it away from him. Hidehito saw that the atmosphere of the house was depressing, but in that he saw his sister and mother. But then Hitomi turns around and sees Hidehito. Hitomi. Her brother, surprised and with tears in her eyes. Jean saw her son at the entrance and tears of happiness. Jean. My boy, with tears of happiness. At that, mother and daughter rushed to hug Hidehito, who accepted the hug from his mother and sister. Jean. Hidehito, I missed you so much. My child is in his mother's arms, crying. Hitomi. Brother, I missed you so much, crying. Hidehito. I missed you too, mom. Hitomi, I have a lot to tell you, smiling. Then, after the two calmed down, Hidehito told them what happened after he escaped from prison, how a friend saved him, and how he obtained powers. Jean and Hitomi were surprised by this revelation, but at least they had their son brother back. Hidehito. Mom, Hitomi, come with me to New Devon. There you can have a better life and I have a better house, smiling. Jean and Hitomi thought about it, but at least they wouldn't be far from Hidehito, and they accepted. After that, Hidehito left with his mother and sister, but he didn't realize that a girl was watching him. It was Najimi. Najimi. It's Hideman, I should tell the others, it would be. She took a photo of him and later told the others through a WhatsApp group that Hidehito had returned. A few minutes later Najimi was with the others where she said she saw Hidehito, but he had a strange red suit and had different hair and he doesn't have the flower on his head. Najimi. I swear it was him who never forgot a face, it would be. Himiko. Look at him, he's not average anymore, surprised. Mikaru. Look, he looks muscular, blushing. Shako. It's very different, blushing. Baby. Look at that different hair, surprised. Heed. What are we going to do? No, curious. Mikako. Red suits her, surprised. Himeko. But listen, don't you think he would look at you with hatred? Remember that you blamed him too, it would be. Mikako and Himeko have nothing to do with each other, but they get together so as not to raise suspicions. But Hidehito. He was in the park with Rumiko, Hitomi and Jean, but at that moment he heard a familiar voice. Hidehito, is you, with tears. At that Hidehito turned around and saw a girl with short hair. He knew who it was Amaharu. She was not involved in the betrayal. Amaharu gives Hidehito a big hug and the black-haired boy accepts the hug. Amaharu. I missed you so much, crying. Hidehito. Me too, but you'd better talk to Rumiko since she's my girlfriend, seriously. Amaharu felt sad when she heard that, but maybe talking to Rumiko would accept her as another of Hidehito's girlfriends. But then a missile was heading straight for them and Hidehito activated a shield that prevented the missile from hitting his loved ones. Hidehito. Who did that, annoyed. Then he saw the perpetrator and it was Seth, who was accompanied by several Yakuza. Seth. Wow, but he's that idiot, Hidehito, mockingly. At that Hidehito activates his power, causing a red aura to cover him. At that the Yakuza shoot him, but Hidehito creates a shield that protects him from the bullets. Hidehito would create a kind of claws and in that he throws the attack at the Yakuza, killing them. Seth saw how his army was killed, where now he would take out a device that gives him technological armor. Seth. Were you surprised? We Yakuza stole abs so we could have high-tech suits. Mockingly. Now a fight is coming, both opponents are preparing to fight. A little music for atmosphere. At that Seth attacks Hidehito, but he was more agile than Seth, but in a moment of carelessness, Hidehito is sent flying. And that Hidehito creates a sword where later Seth with his armor created one where both clashed swords. The fight was quite complicated where both clashed swords, but in a careless Seth Hidehito hits him with a turbine created by his ring. Hidehito used his power of anger where now he was serious, but Seth was not far behind and both continued colliding punches and kicks, but in that Hidehito created a machine gun where he began to shoot hitting Seth's armor. Seth then took out a machine gun and started shooting at Hidehito, but Hidehito blocked the shots with a shield. At that Seth shoots missiles at him, but Hidehito returns them and some missiles hit him damaging his armor a little. Seth. I must admit, good attack, but it won't be enough to beat me, mockingly. Then that he would take out a laser whip where he then catches Hidehito. It is a laser that does not damage but traps its target. Hidehito then tries to free himself, but Seth sends him flying. Hidehito crashed into a tree and then Seth started hitting him quickly. After that Seth shoots several missiles, but one hit Hidehito. He gets up with great difficulty and then Seth subdues him and then grabs him by the neck. Seth. You know when I kill you I'll keep it Rumiko and that geek and your mother and sister will be mine hahaha, laughing like a monster. But what Seth didn't know was that he made the worst mistake of his life. Hidehito, filled with anger, uses his power to kick him, causing Seth to release him. Hidehito. No one meddles with my family, annoyed. Now Hidehito was super angry and his power began to grow in a monstrous way. Hidehito then creates a whip with his ring, catches Seth and begins to whip him as if he were a doll. Hidehito. You like it, eh, you like it, annoyed. At that point he grabs Seth by the head and then punches him in the face, breaking the helmet of Seth's armor. He then launches multiple attacks that further damage Seth's armor. Seth would take out his machine guns and aim at Hidehito. Seth. Eat damn lead, annoyed. He shoots at Hidehito, but Hidehito deflects the bullets with his shields, where he then launches attacks, destroying Seth's machine guns. Seth would take out his sword, but Hidehito creates a tiger with his ring, and the tiger dodges the sword and then rips the swords out of the suit, and then the tiger began to destroy Seth's armor until there was nothing left. Then the red tiger disappears and then Hidehito approaches Seth. Seth tried to stab him, but Hidehito forced his hand. Seth tries to use his other hand, but Hidehito cuts it off with his sword. Seth. Ah, screaming in pain. Seth was in front of Hidehito where Hidehito then grabbed him by the neck. Seth. Please don't kill me, scared. Hidehito. Mercy is for cowards, cold. After that, Hidehito launches dark flames in an attack and said attack began to burn Seth alive. Then Seth turned to dust now Seth is finally dead. End of music. Hidehito finally killed the bastard who ruined his life, where he then took out a serum and drank it, thus healing his wounds. Amaharu and Rumiko run to hug him. They were worried about him. Hidehito. Girls, I'm fine. I promise to make it up to you when we leave the city. And Rumiko, I love Amaharu too. What do you say? Curious. Rumiko. It's okay, she can be with you, but you know I'm the first, would be. Amaharu with all her joy kissed Hidehito on the lips and he just accepted the kiss. After that, Hidehito meets with his sister and mother, where he then tells them that he has to go to New Devon, but they could accompany him. Hidehito. Now we must go, seriously. But then he feels some presences and sees the people he least wanted to see. His ex-girlfriend and his ex-friends. Hidehito. What are you doing here, cold? Shako threw herself at him, but he stepped aside, causing Shako to fall to the ground. Shako. Because, with small tears. Hidehito. And on top of that you ask the damn thing, annoyed. Shako just shed tears because of how Hidehito told her. Ren. Hey, don't talk to my goddess like that, she is interrupted. Hidehito creates a red leopard with his ring, and the leopard jumped on Ren and began to attack her, making Ren scream in pain. Hidehito. That was because of the time you kidnapped me, you damn mentally ill woman, annoyed. Najimi. Please Hidehito, we don't want any problems, nervous. Hidehito. Shut up tomboy, annoyed. Najimi felt a pang when Hidehito called her that way. But then Akako and Himeko come closer. Akako. Hidehito-kun Himeko and I didn't want to hurt you, so he forced us, scared. Hidehito realizes that Akako was telling the truth since he knows who is lying and who is not. Hidehito. I see that they are telling the truth, seriously. They approached, but then Shako looked jealously as they both approached Hidehito. Shako. Hidehito-kun, please come back to me, jealous. Hidehito. No, I'm not going back with a bitch who can't even talk, annoyed. This one was very angry first his ex cheated on him and now he wants him back. Hidehito. I regret having met you, damn you never loved me, you just used me, annoyed. Shako. No, it's not true, I love you, sad. Hidehito. I wish I hadn't talked to you the first day, annoyed. Rumiko. Hidehito be careful, worried. At that point, Hidehito blocks an attack and it was Masayoshi, Shako's father, who had a syringe with tranquilizer to prevent Hidehito from doing something crazy and he grabbed him by the neck strongly. Hidehito. You know, I still remember the words you said to me before they locked me up cold. Masayoshi couldn't speak well since Hidehito was holding him tightly. Hidehito. I remember now, it's rot in jail, you damn murderer, annoyed. Hidehito continued to grab Masayoshi's neck until a sound of something breaking was heard. Crack. Hidehito broke Masayoshi's neck and threw him to the ground like garbage. Shako Shaosuke, dad darling nuevo, horrified. Shako, Shaosuke and Shuko ran to Masayoshi's lifeless body. Everyone was horrified, they didn't think that Hidehito would kill a member of the Komi family. Shako. Dad, please don't leave us, crying. Shaosuke. Dad, you can't go, crying. Shuko. Honey, please don't leave us, I love you, crying. But it was useless, Masayoshi Komi was no longer alive. Najimi. Why did you do it? Horrified. Hidehito. I had something pending with that garbage now I'm leaving here Kako Himeko let's go, serious. In that Hidehito opens a portal where he enters and is followed by his sister, mother, girlfriends, Akako and Himeko, and the portal closed. Shako. Why is Hidehito like this? Crying. Najimi. It must be that ring corrupting his mind, it would be. That's what the traitors thought, but then they leave the area taking Masayoshi's corpse, but the traitors had planned to take that ring from Hidehito so that he would be the same kind person again, but they don't know that he did that of his own free will. What will happen? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 9 Lincoln unites a new Devon. Previously, Hidehito took revenge on the wretch who ruined his life, and not only that, he also confronted his former friends and killed Shako's father, since Hidehito did not forget the words he said to him before he was locked up. He also took the girls who were always with him, and not only that, he also took his friends, so that they would no longer be with the traitors. Present. We are located at the entrance of New Devon where Hidehito entered with his friends and partners. But there were also Professor Miwa and the guide Ryoko Tenjun. Ryoko saw this place she never saw before, and teacher Miwa too. They saw that there was a lot of technology, but there were also forests and jungles and savannas. Hidehito gave Ryoko a tour to learn. They arrived at the jungle where Ryoko saw many animals living together, but then a tiger approached. Ryoko got scared, but Hidehito protected her. But Ryoko saw that it was a Balinese tiger. Ryoko. She's expecting a Bali tiger, how is it possible if they are extinct? Surprised. Hidehito. I was able to revive her, but don't worry, she won't hurt you. Besides, she's a Balinese tigress, but she has beautiful babies, smiling. Then some baby tigers approach. Ryoko. Oh, they are beautiful babies, with little tears. Hidehito. She was able to have her babies, but look at this island, the animals that became extinct, we revived them, but we don't reveal this because poachers could come and kill them and make them extinct again, seriously. In that they walked through the jungle where Ryoko saw the animals that were a quagga with her baby, a dodo, a giant moa, a Javan tiger, a Tasmanian wolf and a passenger pigeon. Hidehito. These animals live in peace, no one knows that they returned, only the residents of this island and kingdom know, we do not reveal anything, since we do not want hunters to kill them and sell their skins on the black market, seriously. Then they returned to the city where after that Hidehito showed his friends that he got a new house. Hidehito's friends moved into that house, but the girls stayed at Hidehito's house. Naoto returned with Hana and Sona told about what happened after she returned to her old home. Issei arrived with his Black Manta suit, but without the helmet. Hidehito explained that Issei saved him from the police who wanted to catch him. Elsewhere. We are with Lincoln who had his Negatrix but was now evolved. He was watching everything from a mountain, but then his girlfriend Santanica was approaching, causing pandemonium. Santanica. Bunny you have curious. Lincoln. It's nothing, I've just been through a lot, seriously. Santanica. Lincoln, despite what you had to go through, I love you, I will never leave you, since you are hurt by multiple betrayals, it would be. Lincoln. At least I can count on you, blushing. At that moment he realized something and saw Jean, the girl from the extinct faction of heroes. So that you don't get confused about Jean since there are two, I will call Hidehito's mother Jean, Tadano, to avoid confusion. Jean. Hey, where are we? Curious. Lincoln. I don't know, but let's get out of here now, seriously. After that the three of them left where they then went to another place. The New Devon. Issei was watching everything, but then he saw Lincoln transform through his cameras. Issei. What is that? I've never seen a device like that, surprised. This one had hidden cameras and saw how Lincoln defeated Kuoh and killed the faction of heroes, but he saw Lincoln's girlfriend and saw that she was a vampire. Issei. How lucky is that boy, seriously. In that he saw a lot of potential in the albino, and the idea came to him to offer him to join him. This opens a portal, but not before putting on Black Manta's helmet. Han Lincoln. He was with his two girlfriends watching the sunset, where they later saw the portal open where Black Manta comes out. Lincoln. Wait, who are you, seriously? Black Manta. Calm down, I didn't come to fight, just to talk to you, boy, seriously. Black Manta realizes that the albino has the Kuoh spear and that Jean was with the albino and the vampire. Black Manta. Jean, what are you doing here? Seriously. Jean. Wait, what are you talking about? I don't know you, it would be. Black Manta takes off his helmet where the blonde saw that it was the same boy he fought in the past. Jean. Issei, surprised. Lincoln. Wait, do you know him? Surprised. Jean. Yes, since Kuoh and the others fought against him in the past, it would be. Issei. Well, who are you, albino? Curious. Lincoln. I'm Lincoln, seriously. Santanica. And what do you want, it would be. Issei. I don't want any problems. First, I came to give you an offer. You see, I have a kingdom called New Devon and it's a nice place. It's like a mix between Shanghai, New York and Tokyo. 3 huge cities in one kingdom. You see, Lincoln, I saw potential in you. Do you want to join? Curious. Lincoln. What did he win in return, seriously? Issei. You'll see, there you'll have a nice house and you'll be able to open stores without anyone telling you anything, smiling. Lincoln. Okay, but in that kingdom I'll tell you everything that happened, seriously. At that point, everyone enters the portal to New Devon. A New Devon. Issei's friends waited for his return, where they later saw Issei return, but accompanied by an albino boy and 2 girls. Issei. Friends, he is Lincoln and they are his girlfriends, Santanica Pandemonium, who is a vampire, but she is Jean, a former member of the extinct faction of heroes, it would be. Hyoudou. She's named after my mom, surprised. Issei. Lincoln, what's your story? Curious. Lincoln. Well, it's a bit complicated, but I'll do it, seriously. This tells how he used to be part of the Loud family and that he had 12 sisters, where everyone was really surprised. His parents went too far. But one of the sisters named Lin blamed him for bad luck just for losing a game where later his whole family turned against him and how his friends betrayed him and that he also had girlfriends, but they abandoned him. At least Clyde and Cookie didn't believe in bad luck. But not only that, but he suffered a horrible betrayal by a woman who saw him as another mother, since he met a woman who saw him as a son and saw her as a mother and he went to live with her. Her name was Jessica. I know it's Arena from Koro Sensei's anime, but I couldn't find another image. But that happiness did not last long. Things started going badly for her in her days and one day she thought that Lincoln had bad luck and she started treating him horribly in the same way that the Louds did. He decided to escape and succeeded, but after escaping from Royal Woods, he found a device that gave him the ability to turn into aliens. Then how he met Santanica and how they fell in love, and even though she was a vampire he didn't care and continued loving her. When she finished telling her story, the girls who were with Issei's friends cried because a family could be so cruel to a child. Also how he suffered multiple betrayals and Issei's friends wanted to kill that family. Lincoln. I don't care what happens to them anymore, but I'll go for my little sister Lily, she's not to blame for anything, she's just a baby, seriously. Issei. I understand, seriously. Hyoudou. You suffered worse than us all because of a superstition, seriously. Hyoudou. At least you weren't locked up in a jail, seriously. Santanica. Despite everything, he moves on and doesn't let the past affect him, it would be. Then Issei showed Lincoln his new house which was a mansion. Now Lincoln had a new home and new friends, but he knows that one day he will have to face his past. What will happen? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 10. Issei's Girls. Previously Lincoln was seen joining his girlfriend to the kingdom of New Devon, where after that Issei now got an ally. Present. Issei was in the ocean exploring the ocean to see what he found, but he was dressed in his Black Manta suit, but his helmet had another design. He was alert in case things got complicated, but then he detected an energy. This one went at great speed and arrived at a small island. He saw that it was a girl with orange caramel colored hair. She was wearing white and red clothes. But she was fighting against an army of renegade demons. But one of them plays dirty and throws sand in her eyes, where afterward they tear off her clothes leaving her naked and were going to grape her. But then Black Manta comes out of the water and shoots lasers at them. Then the renegade demons attack him, but then Black Manta uses his nanotechnology sword where he then cuts the renegade demons into pieces. Black Manta approaches, but the girl gets very scared, but then Black Manta gives her new clothes, since he was able to make another one with his magic power. Thank you, nervous. Black Manta. Calm down, I won't hurt you. My name is Issei, alias Black Manta, smiling, but it wasn't noticeable because of the helmet. He takes off his helmet and the girl saw his face. My name is Asuna Yuki, blushing. Issei. Asuna, why did those demons attack you, serious? Asuna. It's that I escaped from a certain Rizavam Lucifer because he wanted to use me for a horrible experiment, scared. Issei. That damn guy will pay for this, annoyed. Asuna. Wait, do you know that damn Rizavam? Serious and curious. Issei. Yes, because I fought in the past against that old lesbian and he always hides like the rat he is, cold. Asuna. I see you have pending accounts with him, would be. Issei. Well, I must return to my kingdom since this place is not safe, serious. Asuna. Wait, I have nowhere to go, sad. Issei. If you want you can come, I'm the ruler, smiling. Asuna. I want to know your kingdom, smiling. At that Issei opens a portal and both enter where New Devon is. The New Devon. The portal opens where Issei and Asuna come out and then enter the palace where the girl looked in amazement at everything Issei managed to get. Issei. You like it, smiling. He gathered his friends where he revealed that he had gained a new ally. Issei gave him a high-tech armor. She trained hard and Issei gave her a special sword. Asuna uses this sword to fight since she is an expert swordsman. After that Issei went to visit some places to see if he could get allies for New Devon. He found a girl named Yukina. She possesses a magical bow and arrow and the arrows are endless and she never fails to hit her target. They then met an idol named Ai Hashino who joined New Devon. Now Issei got allies for his kingdom where he later returned and his friends saw Issei's companions. After meeting them we see Hidehito in a park with Rumiko, Amaharu, Akako and Himeko. Hidehito. Girls, I told you would like this place. No one is discriminated against here, smiling. Amaharu. Thanks to this kingdom I can now do many things, smiling. Hidehito. Girls, you are my love since you helped me when no one else did, but Akako, Himeko, now I know that you wanted to support me, but that bitch Ren ruined everything, but at least I gave him what he deserved and killed the bastard who ruined my life, seriously. The girls jump on Hidehito and cover his face with kisses. With Naoto. This one was with Hana and Sona somewhere else where he gives each of them a kiss. Naoto. Girls, I don't understand what I saw in that bitch Nagatoro, seriously. Hana. It's true, but at least she suffered the consequences, it would be. Sona. Now that we're not with those traitors, what are you going to do, Naoto? Curious. Naoto. Take care of my museum because they value my art here, smiling. Then they see a Tasmanian wolf and they get scared. Naoto. Girls, don't be afraid, it won't hurt you, since animals and humans live together here, smiling. The girls pet the Tasmanian wolf after they left the park. Han Lincoln. He was accompanied by Jean and Santanica where both were watching the beautiful sunset. Lincoln. I should have admitted girls, I'm going to protect the city so it won't be destroyed, seriously. Jean. You're right, Bunny, it would be. Santanica. We should also help those who do not need it, it would be. And that the three continued watching the sunset. 3 months later. Over time, Issei became the partner of Asuna, Yukina and I, and they were now happier than ever, but now Issei had recovered the happiness he had lost. Issei. I won't make the same mistakes I made in my previous life with the factions, seriously. He then went to train with his friends because he wanted revenge against Rizavam. What will happen? Watch it in the next chapter. Chapter 11 Issei vs Rizavam. Previously Issei met girls where he eventually got 3 girlfriends who were Asuna, Ai and Yukina, where he was slowly recovering the happiness that was taken away from him. Issei's new friends helped in the kingdom to prevent it from being invaded by the factions. Present. We see Issei sitting on his throne where his loved ones were around him, where he would later speak. Issei. Who would have thought I was a leader now, smiling. Asuna. Those fools didn't know how to value you, smiling. Ai. At least you killed the trash you were replaced with, since he was nothing but scum, would be. Issei. Well, I have good friends and girls who love me, seriously. So Issei was talking with his loves where after that he went to serve them something to eat. But Issei's friends. They were talking about what they were going to do, since at least some of them had fulfilled their revenge, but Lincoln is still missing. Naoto. I really don't understand why your parents didn't do anything to stop your sisters, seriously. Lincoln. They are idiots who let themselves be manipulated by their daughters, and they often did not intervene when they got out of control, seriously. Hidehito. Those bastards are trash, seriously. Lincoln then went somewhere else, but he was watching his Ultimatrix. Naoto. I don't understand why those girls are so selfish with him, seriously. Hidehito. He's a nice guy, I don't understand why his sisters behaved that way with him, as if Lincoln were the worst villain of all, seriously. But Issei. He was exploring the ocean to see what he found, where after that he came out of the water where he later saw that there were several renegade demons in a base, he went back into the water. He swims quite quickly and then uses his laser eyes to destroy a wall. There was literally a bloodbath where Issei got information out of them to discover Rizovum's whereabouts. Until one of them revealed the exact location where Issei then destroyed the base, so as not to leave loose ends. Issei then went to all the Rizovum bases where he then destroyed all Rizovum clones to prevent future problems. But in one of the Issei bases he found a room where there were two girls locked in a cell. Issei then opens the cell, but the two girls look at Issei, but he takes off his helmet where they both look at him. Issei. My name is Issei Hyoudou, what are your names? Seriously. My name is Katsura Kotonoha, nervous. I am Sekai Saionji, nervous. Issei. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, smiling. Issei's smile made both girls blush, but then Issei would speak again. Issei. Because they were locked in the cell, seriously. Sekai. Well, it's a long story, sad. In that, both of them tell Issei how they knew Makoto and were his girlfriends until one day he betrayed them, and then a guy with armor and white hair appeared with whom Makoto made a pact, and then he locked them in the base where they were experimented on. Issei was in shock, it was the same boy who ruined his life, and he remembered that he was the one who killed him. Sekai and Kotonoha cry, but then Issei approaches and gives them a hug to try to calm them down. Issei. I'm sorry to hear all that, but that trash from Makoto not only ruined their lives, but mine as well, seriously. Kotonoha. What do you mean? Curious. And that Issei tells them how his previous life was as a hero of the factions, and then how Makoto appeared, and how he ruined his life by making them betray him, and then how he became Black Manta, and then how he murdered Makoto. Issei. That's what happened, serious. Both Kotonoha and Sekai were in shock. Issei did a lot for the factions, but in the end they paid him with betrayal, and how in the end, Makoto was responsible for everything, and how Issei then killed Makoto's scum. Sekai. We're sorry for everything you went through, sad. Kotonoha had just cried for how Issei was betrayed, but at least he already killed the scum Makoto. Issei. Now I must take care of Rizovum, seriously. Issei sent them to New Devon with an invention of his so as not to put them in danger. Issei destroyed the base where he then went to the last base where he stealthily entered the water. Issei then goes out and very quietly begins to move so that he is not discovered. But that Issei continued on his way where after that he knocked down the door where inside was a being with a Mayu suit and white hair, it was Rizovum. Rizovum. Wow, but it's Black Manta, mockingly. Black Manta. Rizovum live in Lucifer. Your days of terrorizing innocents are over, seriously. Rizovum. You just got lucky with Makoto. Now I'm more powerful since I stole power from Office, mockingly. In that, Rizovum shows a serum where he drinks it and then feels an increase in power where after that he began to fight against Black Manta, where then both had an even fight. Goku is Black Manta and Metal Cooler is Rizovum. Both continued fighting, but then Black Manta shoots a laser at Rizovum burning part of his clothes, but then Rizovum launches an attack of destruction. Black Manta. How did you do that? Seriously. Rizovum. Simple, Makoto took away a part of the power from those girls and the leaders, and the serum gave me their powers, now I have the powers of the leaders, mockingly. And that Rizovum throws lightning at Black Manta where he is with a force field. Black Manta. You thought I was stupid, right? Seriously. And that Black Manta throws lasers from his hands thanks to his gloves, where after that he creates something like creating a trident. This uses his powers where after that Issei uses his trident to deflect Rizovum's attacks. Rizovum then takes out a sword to fight. At that point, Rizovum and Issei clash their weapons, thus having a fight where after that, Issei takes advantage of that and stabs Rizovum in the chest with his trident. Rizovum screamed in pain, but then the trident was taken out where he then combined the powers where he then became more powerful, where after that he ran and began to beat up Black Manta. After that, with a punch, he knocks off Black Manta's helmet, revealing his face. Rizovum. You but how is it possible if Makoto told me that they killed you, annoyed. Issei. Now you will pay for all the blood you have shed from all those you killed, seriously. And that Issei accesses a power that he had never seen before where he is surrounded by a silver aura and his hair turns silver. Surprise, Issei has Ultra Instinct, but he is not a Saiyan. In addition, there are already stories where there are Ultra Instinct carriers without needing to be a Saiyan, but Issei only uses Ultra Instinct for emergencies and he masters it 50%, but later on there will be powerful enemies. Rizovum was shocked, he had never seen such a power, and then he used all the powers he had to try to kill Issei, but Issei dodged it without much effort. At that Issei launches attacks quickly at Rizovum, and one of the attacks destroys a wall, taking Rizovum out of the base. At that Issei began to beat up Rizavum, where after that he cuts off Rizavum's hand, where then he grabs him, and then Issei grabs Rizavum's head, where after that an energy sword manifests from Issei's hand, where after that he cuts off Rizavum's head. Issei then launches an energy attack at Rizavum's body, where it then disintegrates, leaving only the head. Issei grabs a box and puts Rizavum's head in the box, where he then sends it to the underworld. Now Issei takes revenge on Rizavum for everything he did, but he doesn't know that later there will be worse enemies that will happen. See it in the next chapter. Chapter 12. A new friend. Previously Issei discovered where Rizavum was, and he went to fight against the son of the original Lucifer, and after a hard battle, Issei managed to kill Rizavum by cutting off his head, and he would do something with Rizavum's head. Present. Underworld. The leaders were discussing what they were going to do since Makoto turned out to be a survivor of the Chaos Brigade, and not only that, but also about who Black Manta is, since he appeared out of nowhere, and they didn't know who he was, since he hid his aura, and also the murderer of Makoto. Sirzechs. What do we do since the truth came to light? Everyone in the underworld hates us, seriously. But at that moment a box appears in a magic circle, and when they open it, they feel like they are going to vomit. In the box was Rizavum's head, since Issei sent it so they could see that Rizavum is dead, and there was a note that said the following. Dear factions, I've already taken care of that piece of trash Rizavum live in Lucifer, since he was a danger to everyone. This isn't a threat, it's a warning if you mess with me. At Black Manta. P.S. Check what's under the cushion where it is. The leaders checked and suddenly a countdown is heard. At that moment, an explosion is heard throughout the room and everyone is seen covered in paint. Sirzechs. Seriously, the last part of the note was a joke, rubbing his eyes. Everyone was trying to remove the paint as it was very difficult to remove. A new Devon. Issei was satisfied, he killed the piece of trash Rizavum for everything the son of Lucifer did to him, he asked for it for all the blood he shed, and Issei even avenged his parents, since they were killed by Rizavum. Issei. Now that Rizavum Rad is where he belongs in hell, seriously. Issei started checking the security cameras to see if someone invades the place, but nothing happened. Issei. At least everything is in order, no one went to invade my kingdom, serious. Issei continued checking for invasions. But the others. Lincoln was sitting, but then he pressed his ultimatrix and a sword came out. Everyone was amazed by what they were seeing, it was a sword that looked like a common one, but then Lincoln would speak to them. Lincoln. It's not a common sword since it was forged by aliens from an unbreakable material, smiling. Naoto. I admit that sword looks cool, smiling. Hyoudou. How is it possible that you have it stored in that watch, surprised? Lincoln. I'm just full of surprises, smiling. Naoto. If I don't deny it, smiling. Lincoln. Well, I have to see my girlfriends, smiling. He keeps the sword in the ultimatrix, and so Lincoln left the place to go to where his girlfriends were. Lincoln saw Santanica and Jean spit on him. The vampire gives Lincoln a kiss where he gladly accepts, and the next was Jean, and the blonde kissed him with some lust. Lincoln. Okay girls, I'm going to visit some places. Do you want to go with me? Seriously. They agreed to go with the albino, and he teleports with his girlfriends. Ice. He was training in the time room that he himself created, but it was not an easy task to design. He manages to master the Ultra Instinct at 100% since time passes quickly, but thanks to his eternal youth he cannot age. Issei got a phase, but he could barely use it, it was like a phase 3 of Super Saiyan, but Ultra Instinct version. Imagine it's Issei. Issei could barely use it since it consumes a lot of energy, and before fainting he detransforms. Issei. I should train a lot more, seriously. At that Issei left the time room to spend time with his girls. Han Lincoln. After a relaxing walk with their girlfriends, they went to take care of the kingdom. This one was in a place training since he did it to not depend on the ultimatrix, and this one trained with or without the Ascalon or the true Longinus spear, since he remembered that he took it from Kuoh before killing him. After training, Lincoln uses a device that he himself invented to travel to other dimensions that looks like a telephone. This one went to another dimension to see what could be achieved. Ice. He was diving, but he felt trouble, and then he went to see what was happening, and through his powers he reached a part of Japan. He saw a green-haired boy in very bad condition. Issei took him to New Devon to save him, and with his teleportation, he arrived at his castle and put him in a recovery machine. The green-haired boy was put on a respirator, and then Issei activated the machine and the machine filled with something similar to water, but it wasn't. Issei. How did you end up like this? Seriously. Issei was left waiting for the green-haired boy to recover, but he will have answers later on, what will happen? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 13. Izuku's new power. Previously Issei got a new ally for his empire, but this one would first see what happened to the person he had found. Present. Issei was wearing his Black Manta suit, but at that moment he heard something and saw that the green-haired boy had recovered, and then he deactivated the machine and opened the door, but not before deactivating the healing liquid, and then the green-haired boy came out. Black Manta. I see you woke up, seriously. Wait, who are you and how did I get here, serious and curious. Black Manta. Hey, it's rude to ask who you are without first introducing yourself, seriously. Izuku Midoriya Serio. Black Manta. It's time to show you who I am, seriously. And that he takes off his helmet where Izuku saw Issei's face. Issei. I am Issei Hyoudou alias Black Manta, but because you were hurt when I found you, serious. Izuku. Well, it all started like this, seriously. Izuku tells Issei his story, from when he discovered he had no quirk or power to how he became All Might's successor, and how he obtained one for all. But after many adventures he was betrayed because he was accused of treason, since there was a video where Izuku gave information to the League of Villains. Also how they took away the one for all and how they attacked him until he was left dying. Issei was shocked by this but felt angry until Patrick would realize the video was fake. Issei. I'm sorry about all that, but I have the solution for you, seriously. He takes out a box where he would take out a bottle of serum and then takes out a little with a syringe. Issei. This is not just any serum, it will give you a new power more powerful than that one for all, seriously. Izuku was somewhat unsure but accepted, and then Issei injected him with the serum, and at that moment Izuku feels a change. At that moment he feels more powerful and he runs, but he runs at great speeds while lightning bolts come out of his body. Sonic style. Izuku then lifts heavy things like it's nothing. Then Izuku tried another power and it was flying, and he could fly at great speeds. Izuku tested his resistance and was bulletproof, stabbed, fire, explosions, blasts, etc. Izuku tried another power and it was heat vision. Izuku after testing his new powers he was now much more powerful. He receives a suit that covers his face to avoid being recognized. Izuku had new powers, but he still needs training since he is used to some, but he would train very hard. As time went by, Izuku improved his new powers and now he could use powers without breaking any bones. Ice. He was underwater looking for some artifacts but found nothing and then returned to the island. He went to train his Ultra Instinct a little to master it a little, but at that moment he felt a strange energy and went to see what was happening. When he arrived he saw a strange woman he had never seen before. Issei detected that she emanated much more power than Great Red. Issei. Who are you, serious? So you forgot about my Issei-kun, mockingly. Issei. Wait, who told you my name, seriously? Maybe this will make you remember, it would be. And that she releases a lot of power, but Issei is in shock. He only felt that power when he fought in the war. Issei. Trihexa, surprised. Trihexa. I see you remind me of Issei-kun, seductive. Issei. Wait, all this time you were female, surprised. Trihexa. Yes, only in my dragon form I look male, but in reality I am female, but now I am yours, and you are mine, smiling seductively. Issei. Wait, what are you talking about, confused. Trihexa. You defeated me and that makes you my partner. Remember, if a male defeats a dragon, she becomes his partner, and since you defeated me, I am yours, and you are mine, seductress. Issei solo tartamudiba pero Trihexa la da un beso en los labios. Imagine you are Issei and Trihexa. Issei was just kissed by the dragon of the apocalypse, but he doesn't know how his partners will react, what will happen. See it in the next chapter. Chapter 14 Planning Izuku's Revenge. Previously, Issei recruited Izuku Midoriya, who was betrayed because they showed false evidence that he was an infiltrator of the League of Villains, and they took away the one for all from him. But Izuku received new powers thanks to Issei, and now Izuku plans to take revenge on those who betrayed him. But not only that, Issei met Trihexa again, who turned out to be female, and now she is with Issei. Present. We are located in the castle where Issei was talking to the girls about his encounter with Trihexa, where the girls were surprised, but Issei left them alone to talk. Later. Issei was playing with his console, which was a PS5 that he bought and had a giant TV. He decided to play the Red Dead game, since one of Issei's hobbies is that he likes to play video games. Issei then hears a knock on the door and says come in, and the door opens and Lincoln enters. Lincoln. Hello Issei, smiling. Issei. Lincoln, how are you? Curious. Lincoln. My girlfriends and I have been investigating but haven't found anything yet, seriously. Issei. I see, hey, do you want to play Red Dead 2? Smiling. Lincoln. That's right, smiling. So they both get ready to play to pass the time. After playing Issei would be called, but Lincoln would leave Red Dead and put on Fortnite. Ice. He went to the room where the girls were and they were waiting for him. Issei. Girls, you already talked about it, curious. Asuna. That's right and we agree to share you, smiling. Yukina. But that you love us all equally, it would be. Issei. It's okay, smiling. Konoha. Now we can go out, curious. Issei. Of course, I'll go with them, smiling. Trihexa. What are we waiting for? Let's go buy clothes, smiling. So Issei and the others went to the mall to buy things. Han Lincoln. This one had already played a long game of Fortnite and this one comes out where he takes out a bracelet from the future. This activates it where a nanotechnology covers his body, now he had a combat suit so as not to always depend on his. Imagine you have the Ultimatrix. Lincoln. This suit is great, smiling. Then he left the place with his suit thanks to some propellants he had on his feet, Iron Man style. Later. We see Issei meeting with the girls at the castle's viewpoint where they could see the entire kingdom that Issei had built. Now we can say that the future is now since the city had everything that other countries don't have and that is taking care of the animals and not polluting the environment since they make paper with recycled material and use garbage as energy since they put it in a machine that converts it into energy. Issei. Now I have my territory and it is 1,000 times bigger than the underworld, smiling. Then they see a flying car approaching. From the car doors you can see Lincoln since he was driving the flying car. Issei. Lincoln you invented, surprised. Lincoln. That's right and you have anti-gravity discs, that's why you can fly, smiling. Issei. Well, I also made mine, mockingly. And that he presses the button on a control where he jumps and lands inside his flying car. Issei and Lincoln have a relationship like that of an older brother with his younger brother. At that point, the three of them will accelerate and the cars will fly off to see which one is faster. Asuna. Who would have thought, our little brother is cute, smiling. Asuna and Issei's other girlfriends treat Lincoln like their little brother. Han Issei why Lincoln. The two continued flying in their flying cars, but then they received a call from Izuku. Izuku. Friends, I want to tell you something. See you at the cafeteria, hangs up the call. So the two went to see what was happening and in a few seconds they arrived at a modern cafe. They both get out of the car where Izuku talks to them. Izuku. Guys, I want revenge on those bastards who turned their backs on me, seriously. Issei. I see you're ready, well, do you want us to accompany you? Curious. Izuku. Yes please, seriously. Lincoln. Of course, you never turn your back on your family, smiling. Then that Izuku flies away while Issei and Lincoln follow him, but what they don't know is that Hidehito and Naoto are also following them. What will happen? See it in the next chapter. Chapter 15 Izuku's Revenge. Previously Issei spent time with his girls and eventually he and Lincoln had races with their flying cars and then they met Izuku where they decided to help Izuku get revenge on the League of Villains. Izuku accepted the help of his friends since he knows that some of the League of Villains have dirty tricks and so that they do not attack him from behind. Present. We see the trio flying in their flying cars, only Izuku was flying next to Lincoln and Issei's flying cars. Lincoln. I see that he preferred to fly alone, but well, I can't blame him, seriously. Issei. That's him, smiling. After a few minutes they arrived at the city of Musatafu. Izuku. Hasn't changed much since I left, seriously. And that the flying cars stop at a building where Issei and Lincoln get off with their suits, but in Lincoln's case he only wore black since he didn't need his technological suit. The three knew what they had to do to avoid surprise attacks. And what happened during the time Izuku was in New Devon? Here is the answer. What happened was that after Izuku was betrayed and abandoned, he was put on the news as a traitor where he was repudiated. But there were few who believed in his innocence. But 3 months later an attack by the League of Villains occurred where All for One revealed that the video of Izuku giving information to the League of Villains was nothing more than a lie to get him out of the way so that he does not hinder their plans. Another thing was that the League of Villains revealed that the true traitor turned out to be Mineta, where everyone regretted having betrayed Izuku and treated him like garbage. Returning to the present. We are located with a little girl with white hair running away from something, it was Eri. Eri was running away from the evil Kai Chisaki who wanted to use her as a lab rat. Hi. Don't run away brat, annoyed. At that moment Eri continues to run away, but Kai was about to catch her, but at that moment a black blur took Eri away. The person responsible was Izuku who was holding Eri in his arms. Eri sees who saved her and tears fill her eyes. Eri. Daddy is you, crying. Izuku. Yes, it's me, Eri, don't cry, Daddy is here, smiling. Eri just hugs Izuku where he gladly accepted the hug from his little girl. Hi. Idiot give it back to me, annoyed. Izuku leaves Eri in a safe place since he didn't want her to see what was going to happen and he put some earplugs in her so she wouldn't hear bad words. Izuku. Shut up bird, annoyed. At that Kai launches himself to attack Izuku but he defends himself very easily. Izuku. You will pay for everything you did, you damn unhappy guy, annoyed. At that Izuku would throw lightning bolts from his hands electrocuting the villain. I screamed in pain, but that wasn't the only thing since Izuku attacked him in the following way. Black Adam is Izuku and Superman is Kai. Izuku then decides to create a sword with energy in his hand. Imagine it's Izuku. Izuku then attacks Kai Chisaki with his sword and pierces him in the stomach, causing him to scream in pain. Damn, you'll pay for this, in pain. At that Izuku takes out his sword and in a quick movement he began to cut Kai Chisaki into pieces as if he were a cow in the slaughterhouse. Then he throws an attack to eliminate the remains of the villain. Izuku. Now you no longer exist Kai Chisaki, cold. This makes the energy sword disappear wherein that he went with Eri and removes the plugs. Izuku. Eri, do you want to come with me? Smiling. Eri. Yes daddy, sobbing. And that he carries Eri and flies her to where Issei and Lincoln are. Issei and Lincoln were looking at the city and then Izuku arrives with his daughter where the girl sees Issei and Lincoln. Eri. Daddy, who are they? Curious. Issei and Lincoln take off their helmets, but in Lincoln's case he only took off his hood. Izuku. Eri, they are my friends, but more like my brothers. They are Issei, and the albino is Lincoln. They helped me when I needed help the most, smiling. Issei. It's a pleasure little one, smiling. Lincoln. You are a sweet girl, I can see why Izuku loves you as if you were his daughter, smiling. Eri. Nice to meet you, I'm Eri. By the way, daddy, what are you doing? Curious. Izuku. First I'll take you to my mom, that is, your grandmother, smiling. Then they went to the Midoriya residence where they knocked on the door and Inko opened it, but she had a different look. Izuku. Mom, it's you, surprised. Inko recognized that voice where tears filled her eyes. Inko. My child is you, sobbing. Izuku. Yes, mom, it's me, smiling. At that, Inko threw herself at Izuku, where he accepted his mother's hug. Inko. I thought you died, crying. Izuku. Calm down mom, I'll tell you everything, smiling. Then they entered the house where Izuku tells Inko about what happened after Issei found him and how he received many powers. Inko was shocked by that, but at least Izuku was still alive. Izuku. Mom, how are you like this now that I remember, you are chubby, curious. Inko. It was Eri who gave me back my figure that I had lost because of the depression that you were quirkless, remembering how Eri helped her. Izuku. That explains a lot, seriously. Inko. So you became Izuku's brothers, looking at Issei and Lincoln. Both nodded what Izuku's mother said. Issei. I am Issei, smiling. Lincoln. I'm Lincoln, smiling. Inko. I see that they are good people, smiling. Izuku. Mom, now we must take care of some matters with the League of Villains, seriously. Inko. I see, but Izuku, be careful, worried. Izuku. We know what we have to do, seriously. And that Izuku along with Issei and Lincoln leave to finish off the League of Villains. In a part of the city. We see the League of Villains who were beating the heroes where All For One beats All Might. All For One. Last words, mocking. All Might. Sorry Izuku, sore. All For One was going to attack, but at that moment he receives a kick in the face courtesy of Izuku. All For One crashes into a wall and sees the cause of everything. Izuku. All For One, your reign of terror ends here and now, annoyed. All For One gets up and looks at Izuku angrily. All For One. Damn, how are you alive, annoyed. Izuku. I had some help, friends appear, seriously. Then Black Manta and Lincoln come out, who were looking seriously at the League of Villains. All For One. Ha, what is that albino brat doing? He will be easy to kill, laughing. At that Lincoln gets angry and shows his ultimatrix. Lincoln. Shut up old lesbian, annoyed. All For One gets angry when he hears someone call him an old lesbian. Izuku. Friends take care of the villains, I'll take care of All For One and some of his little friends, seriously. They both nod and then the muscular villain goes for Lincoln. Muscular. You're such a fool, brat. Give up and I'll give you a quick and painless death, mockingly. Lincoln. You're muscular, huh, old man, mockingly. Muscular. You'll pay for that, annoyed. In that muscle he activates his quirk and attacks Lincoln. Lincoln. You're strong, huh? You can play that game. Mocking. At that point, Lincoln activates his ultimatrix and it selects an alien, which then turns into 4 arms. 4 arms. May the best one win, mocking. And that both titans attack each other wherein that 4 arms had all the advantage against muscle. With Black Manta. He sees several villains approaching, where he activates his laser vision. Black Manta. Fools, mocking. In that, Black Manta creates a sword where he fights against the villains and blocks many attacks and burns some of their faces with lasers. With Izuku. He was fighting against Shigaraki where the villain attacked him, but in that Izuku defended himself like a master, wherein that Izuku uses his heat vision to burn Shigaraki's face until it is completely burned, but the thing does not end there. Izuku. This is for everything you did to me since I entered UA, annoyed. This one concentrates his laser more until it passes through Shigaraki's skull, and little by little, Shigaraki loses his life until he ends up dead. Izuku throws Shigaraki's lifeless body and disintegrates it with an attack. At that moment, Izuku hears footsteps approaching, where he sees Lady Nagant. Izuku. What are you going to do, huh? Serious? Lady Nagant. Please don't kill me. I didn't want to do this, but the damn all for one made me terrified. Izuku saw that she was telling the truth, and then he came closer. Izuku. Okay, but go since I don't want to hurt you, serious. She nods wherein that Izuku dodges an attack from All for One. All for One. You will pay damn unhappy, annoying. Izuku looks at All for One and was ready to fight. With Lincoln. After getting bored, he decides to finish off Muscular, taking advantage of a moment of carelessness, and changes from alien to fire, where he burns him alive. At that moment he detransforms and sees a pretty girl with school clothes and blonde hair. Lincoln. What's a pretty girl like you doing in this gang of fools, seriously? Do you think I'm pretty? Blushing. Lincoln. If you're a pretty girl, I'm Lincoln and you're curious. I'm Himiko Toga, but I joined the League of Villains because nobody wants me, sad. Lincoln. How bad, seriously? Himiko. But why aren't you afraid of me? Curious. Lincoln. It's just that you're pretty and I don't judge anyone. It would be better if I helped my friend in case things get complicated, seriously. Himiko blushes, a boy speaks to her nicely, even though she was a bit crazy, he wasn't afraid of her. But Izuku. He was looking at All for One wherein that the number one villain attacks Izuku, where he defends himself with great ease wherein that Izuku would charge lightning from his hands, but in that All for One attacks him where he was going to take away his power, but in that Izuku kicks him in the lows. Izuku. Idiot, you can't take away my powers since no one can take this power away from me, since they managed to prevent beings like you from taking it away from me, mockingly. At that moment, Izuku creates his energy sword, where he runs and accidentally cuts off All for One's arm. All for One. Screaming in pain. At that, Izuku grabs him and slams him to the ground, tearing the villain's face. At that Izuku lifts him up and cuts off both of his legs and the other arm. All for One kept screaming and vomiting blood. All for One. Please don't kill me, I'll leave you alone and leave the others alone, dying. Izuku. It's already late, 3 years late, cold. In that, Izuku would use his maximum power where he would disintegrate All for One's body, making him disappear from existence. All for One had died, but Izuku destroyed All for One with a spell, so that it would never be used again, thus the legacy of All for One had disappeared forever. Izuku. Officially the League of Villains ceases to exist, seriously. And what happened to Black Manta? Black Manta had finished off many of the League of Villains, but with Kurogiri, he simply stole his power and then killed him. There were only 3 women left who were Lady Nagant, Himiko Toga and Karuka alias Lice. But then Izuku realizes that Mineta was going to attack him, but then he grabs him. Izuku. Damn vermin, I should have known from the beginning that you're not trustworthy, cold. Izuku throws Mineta into the sky, and with one attack he would kill him, making him disappear from existence. Izuku and his friends saw everything, but saw the 3 women who remained from the League of Villains. The 3 of them give up and then they left with the boys, but they knew they had to talk the next day because of what will happen. See it in the next chapter. Chapter 16. Setting the record straight. Previously, Izuku managed to fulfill his revenge against the League of Villains for everything they did to him and for all the people they had killed. In addition, Izuku completely extinguished All for One forever. But only 3 villains or ex-villains remained, which are Himiko Toga, Lady Nagant and Karuka. Present. We are located in the Midoriya residence where we see the protagonists eating a delicious breakfast that was cereal with milk. Izuku. Mama, All for One no longer exists, but at least we're not in charge of the League of Villains, seriously. Issei. These villains are a nuisance, I don't regret having killed them, smiling. Lincoln. Yes, they were a stone in the shoe, seriously. Izuku. Well guys, today we have a meeting with those heroes, but we already know how to deal with this, seriously. The 2 nod and then they finish their breakfast, but then the girls appear. Izuku and Lady Nagant went to a private place and then she kisses Izuku and he accepts. It turns out they had a secret relationship, the only one who knew was Toga. Lady Nagant. Izuku missed your kisses, blushing. Izuku. I missed you too, my little purple flower, blushing. They both kiss again and then stop when they hear footsteps. It was little eerie, and then she saw Izuku with Lady Nagant. Eerie? Daddy, she's my new mommy, innocently. At that a feeling of happiness invades Lady Nagant. Eri. Well, I have a very nice mom, smiling. Lady Nagant was very happy that Eri considered her mother, so she opened her arms and with tears of joy said. Lady Nagant. Come here my daughter, with tears of happiness. At that Eri runs into the arms of her new mother, while Lady Nagant hugged her with strength and love. Eri felt the love of a mother, while Lady Nagant was feeling like being a mother. Lady Nagant. By the way, Izuku, my real name is Kaina, hugging Eri. Izuku. Well lad I say Kaina now finally my little one has a mother, smiling. Kaina. I always wanted to be a mother, but because I'm a villain no one wanted to be with me, sad. Izuku. You already are Kaina, smiling. Kaina then hugs Eri more, where the little girl accepts and returns the hug. With Lincoln. This one was with Himiko Toga where he was hugged by the blonde as if he were a teddy bear. Lincoln. Toga, why are you hugging me so much? Blushing. Himiko Toga. You make me happy bunny, you didn't see me as a monster, kissing Lincoln. Lincoln blushes but accepts the blonde's kiss. With Issei. This one was being kissed by Karuka where he blushed but accepted the kiss. Karuka. You kiss very well, blushing. Issei. You're not far behind, but you'll have to talk to my partners, seriously. Karuka. I know but I love you so much, blushing. Issei. Well continue, blushing. They continued kissing for a long time until they stopped. Later. We are in a meeting room where the heroes were to talk with Izuku and Izuku's new friends, but 30 minutes passed and the group did not arrive. When they finally arrived they saw the ex-villains, but when they tried to arrest them a laser was shot out. The person responsible was Issei in his Black Manta suit. Black Manta. Try anything stupid and I'll fry your head, cold. Izuku. First, let's start this meeting, seriously. All Might. Well young Izuku, what are they doing here if they are villains, ahead of Kaina, Himiko and Karuka? Izuku. Don't talk to them like that and answering your question, they are already with us and don't come with nonsense, or else I will do the same thing as All for One, seriously. Everyone gets scared, but that's what the heroine Montana lady would talk about. Mountain lady. Izuku-kun who are his friends, curious. Izuku. Finally someone who is polite well, MT lady, they are my best friends, almost brothers, Issei Hyoudou and my friend Lincoln, who is the one with white hair and black clothes, smiling. Mountain lady. I see, but why did they kill the League of Villains, curious. Izuku. The reason was very simple because if they were arrested soon they would be released and they would kill millions of innocent people, seriously. All Might. But young Izuku killing them wasn't right, seriously. This was enough for Izuku to explode and give a strong blow almost breaking the table. Izuku. Listen to me well do you think that if they were arrested there would be peace? No since if they were arrested they would escape or they would be released and they would return for revenge. It was better to kill them since there would be no more threat since they killed many innocent people and even some heroes had the opportunity to catch them but because of their pride and arrogance they let them escape and do not forget that they many times got away with it, annoyed. Issei. Izuku is right since it was better to kill them than to prevent them from returning with more power and that's what we anti-heroes are for, seriously. Lincoln. No wonder anti-heroes are considered heroes because they kill if necessary, seriously. Izuku. That's why we are anti-heroes since we kill if necessary, seriously. The heroes remained silent since they did not know what to say, but then another heroine would speak. It was about Ryukyu. Ryukyu. I would like to ask for something, it would be. Izuku. Yes Ryukyu, serious. Ryukyu. I would like a fight against him, pointing at Lincoln. Lincoln. Why am I confused? Ryukyu. I saw your abilities when you transformed into other forms with different abilities. I want to fight with you, determined. Lincoln. I accept because I don't want to be seen as a chicken, seriously. Issei. If you have any more questions, ask them, seriously. That's what the heroine Midnight would talk about. Midnight. What powers do you have? Curious. Issei. Well it's complicated, but we have quite a few and some of them even saw them, seriously. Izuku. And don't even think about arresting us or else I'll tear you to pieces since we're not heroes, but we're not villains either, seriously. The heroes reluctantly agreed, but Izuku would have another meeting later. After making things clear, Izuku and his friends went to the UA where everyone saw them since they saw on the news how they finished off the League of Villains. But then Izuku is knocked down by a brunette wearing her heroine costume. Uraraka. Izuku my love I missed you so much, kissing Izuku's face. Izuku. Already, Uraraka, not in public, sorry. Uraraka realizes and stops where she hugs Izuku. Izuku. Uraraka missed you too, but don't do that in public, sad. Uraraka. Sorry I got carried away, sad. Izuku. Uraraka what happened in my absence, curious. Uraraka. Well, many thought you were a traitor, but I never believed that it would be. Izuku. I see, but who didn't believe in that video, seriously? Uraraka. The big three, Momo, some from Class 1B, Professor Asawa and some teachers including Principal Niza, remembering in detail. Izuku. I see, but Uraraka, I came to make things clear, seriously. Uraraka. What, curious? Izuku. I won't be a hero anymore because I'm already an anti-hero since I killed villains if necessary, serious. Uraraka was surprised, but then she noticed the presence of Issei and Lincoln. Uraraka. Izuku-kun, who are they, looking at Issei and Lincoln. Izuku. They are my best friends Issei and Lincoln, smiling. Issei. Nice to meet you, smiling. Lincoln. The pleasure is mine, smiling. Uraraka. I see, but what are her powers? Curious. Issei. Well, it's complicated, but I have quite a few, smiling. Lincoln. Mine is that I have alien transformations, smiling. Uraraka. I see, and I would like to spend time with you Izuku, playing with her fingers. Izuku. Gladly Uraraka, smiling. But then Izuku would see his ex-friends who tried to talk to him, but he points his sword at them. Izuku. Don't even think I'll forgive you, you fell low by believing that I would be part of the League of Villains, seriously. Lita. Izuku, please, we don't want problems, just to talk to you, sadly. Izuku. You're more of a moron than that idiot Patrick, seriously. At that, Kirishima tries to greet Izuku, but Izuku obviously doesn't let him and kicks him in the groin. Kirishima. Grabbing his crotch. Haminari tried to do the same, but it was the same result and Sayu would get closer to that. Sayu. Izuku, I believed in you when they blamed you, don't hurt me, scared. Izuku. Sayu, I won't do anything to you, calm down, smiling. Sayu hugs Izuku where he gladly accepted, but some girls who saw this got jealous. Issei. Reminds me of how it was before with the factions. Lincoln. That reminds me, I have to go fight against Ryukyu, I promised him, seriously. Everyone was surprised because they knew that Ryukyu was not easy to beat. Lincoln uses his Ultimatrix and it transforms into XRL8. XRL8. I have matters to attend to, seriously. Then the alien runs off to where the fight will take place, but no one saw when he moved because he left super fast. Izuku. Well, for those who weren't involved, come with me, I want to talk to you, seriously. Some people who were not involved in the betrayal are approaching this. Later. Izuku was with Maria, Femme Mirio, who had missed him a lot. Maria. Izuku-kun, what powers do you have? Curious. Izuku. I would say quite a few, smiling. In that she shows some where the blonde was impressed with everything she was seeing. But then Uraraka, who was waiting for them, would come in. Elsewhere. We see Lincoln in a field where in front of him was Ryukyu who was waiting for him. Ryukyu. I want to fight now, it would be. Lincoln. Whenever you want, smiling. At that Ryukyu launches himself against the albino, but he dodges the blonde's punches and kicks. At that point, Lincoln decided to give more of a fight, where both clashed fists and kicks. At that point, Lincoln and Ryukyu continued to attack each other, but the blonde, wanting to finish them off, accessed her dragon form. Ryukyu. You gave me a lot of fight, time for me to use all my power, challenger. And that Lincoln activates his Ultimatrix where he accesses an alien. Humungosaur. Humungosaurus, serious. Ryukyu. Wow, it looks huge, this will be exciting, challenging. At that point, both of them started a fight where Humungosaur had a big advantage. At that Ryukyu bites him, but Humungosaur had super tough skin. Humungosaur. One of my advantages in this transformation is that I have super tough, almost indestructible skin, seriously. Humungosaur then presses the emblem, now his appearance changed completely, now he had another look. Supreme Humungosaur. Supreme Humungosaur, serious. Ryukyu was shocked by this, but then she continued her attack. But Supreme Humungosaur turns his hands into cannons and shoots at Ryukyu, where he attacks her again. After that he decided to end it all and combines his best attack where there is a strong explosion. When everything becomes clear, Supreme Humungosaur detransforms back into Lincoln. He had Ryukyu in his arms, she was back in her normal form but fainted from receiving an attack. Lincoln. She's very pretty, I don't deny it, smiling. He gives her a little kiss on the forehead where he went to take Ryukyu to rest. Later. Ryukyu was waking up and then she got up with some difficulty. Lincoln. Are you feeling good? Curious. Ryukyu. You beat me, but hey, what shape was that? Curious. Lincoln. I call it Humungosaur, but it's not my only transformation, smiling. Ryukyu. I see, it was very entertaining, the truth, it would be. Lincoln. I brought you here because I wasn't going to leave you abandoned, and another thing is that you are very beautiful, I don't know how a beauty like you is a great heroine, smiling. Ryukyu. Thank you, blushing. At that Ryukyu approaches Lincoln where she hugs him. Ryukyu. The reason why I asked you for a fight is because I love you. I met you when you were younger. My real name is Ryuko, blushing. Lincoln. Wait Ryuko, is it you, surprised. Ryuko. Yes, Linky, I met you a long time ago. You and I had fun together, but because of heroine duties, I couldn't say goodbye to you, sad. Lincoln. Ryuko, it doesn't matter, I love you too, smiling. She sheds a few small tears and then they both look at each other and little by little they get closer and end up kissing each other on the lips. Now the trio made things clear to the false heroes, but Izuku reunited with those who did not turn their backs on him. What will happen? See it in the next chapter. Halloween special. Halloween had arrived and we were located in New Devon, where we saw children asking for candy and costumes and young people having Halloween parties. We see the streets decorated with the festivities. Even the amusement park was decorated for the holiday. In that we see Issei, Hidehito, Naoto, Lincoln and Izuku walking through the amusement park that was in the kingdom. Issei was dressed as Robocop. Hidehito by DJ DEADMAU5. Naoto was dressed as Iron Man. Lincoln was dressed as Alan Walker and had a computer. Izuku was dressed like Mysterio. The group walked around the fair having a little fun. Izuku accompanies Little Eerie who was dressed as Little Red Riding Hood. Eerie played on the train rides and the carousel where Izuku took pictures of her for the memory. Afterwards they went to eat something where some took off their masks or helmets where they enjoyed a good meal. Issei. Wow, I don't regret going to the Halloween fair, smiling. Lincoln. Yes, it is fun, but hey, how about we take a walk around the cemetery? Smiling. Izuku. I won't go, I have to take care of my little Eerie, since I don't want to leave her alone, we'll stay at the fair, seriously. Hidehito. Well, that's understood, seriously. Naoto. I have to go help Hana and Sona with the haunted house at the fair so they can scare them, seriously. Then Issei and the others went to the cemetery where they saw that it had a creepy touch. Lincoln. Wow, I didn't know there was an old cemetery, surprised. Issei. Not me, and I've built a kingdom here, seriously. They continue exploring and see that near the cemetery there was a mansion. Imagine it's night. Lincoln. Wow, a mansion, surprised. At that point, Lincoln would enter with Hidehito and Issei to check the mansion, but they saw that everything seemed abandoned, but then he heard scratches, and they were just kittens. But then Lincoln finds a book or something similar, but it was chained, and then Lincoln grabs it and breaks the chain with his brute force. In that they see that a page was missing since it was torn out, and in that they search for a while until they find the missing page. But when you put it together, the book sticks to the page, and the page had a spell or something like that. At that Issei reads the spell and everything starts to shake, then some laughter is heard, and a door opens where three women appear, one had red hair, the other had black hair, but the last one who was the youngest had whitish blonde hair. The three friends are shocked, they were the Sanderson sisters, they saw them in the Abracadabra movies. Lincoln. No, surprised. Hidehito. Maybe, surprised. Issei. Being, surprised. Lincoln. Hidehito. Issei. The Sanderson sisters are real, surprised. At that the three look around and see the three friends. Winifred. Wow, they are boys, surprised. Mary. But they look good, smiling. Sarah. I want the snowflake, looking at Lincoln. At that the three felt that they emanated power. Winifred. Wait a minute, you have powers, serious and curious. Hidehito. Ah, yes, we better show them outside, seriously. Then they leave the mansion, but each one shows their respective power. Hidehito with his ring and Lincoln with his transformations. But Issei showed some magic, impressing the Sandersons. Winifred. You're a witch, curious. Issei. Of course not, I'm a sorcerer since I know magic and I know about you guys who need to absorb children's energy to live, but I'm afraid that's not going to happen since I've already solved that, seriously. Mary. What do you mean? Confused. Issei. Obviously I can help them not age with an eternal youth spell, seriously. Winifred. How do we know it's not a trick? Seriously. Issei. They have a lot to learn, but I'm not fooling them, seriously. Then they went to Issei's castle where the Sanderson sisters were fascinated with the technology that was on site, but they were informed of everything. Issei carried out the spell so that the Sanderson sisters would no longer die if the sun came out, but then we see Sarah hugging Lincoln. Sarah. You're a little sugar cube, I love you so much, hugging Lincoln. Lincoln. Damn, the crazy woman liked it, sadly. But Winifred looked different as a result of the spell. Winifred. What happened to me, confused. Issei. It's an effect of the spell, but if you don't want I'll return you to your normal form, smiling. Winifred. I don't like this way at all, smiling. Mary then saw his appearance and saw that he had changed too. Mary. I look better than ever, smiling. Issei. Now that everything is resolved, it's time to return to the fair. How about you come with us? Smiling. The Sanderson sisters nod and then they leave, but each one takes a boy's hand. Winifred grabs Issei's hand, Mary grabs Hidehito's hand, and Sarah grabs Lincoln's, and so they went to the fair. Later. Hidehito went to the forest for a moment while his friends had fun at the fair, but then he heard some cries where he saw a girl, but to his surprise, she looked just like Shako, but upon analyzing her closely, he saw that she was not the Shako he knew. Hidehito. Who are you? Serious and curious. At that the girl looks at Hidehito, but at that tears invade her eyes. Shako-ana. My prince, my love, crying. Hidehito. Wait, what are you talking about, confused. Shako-ana. You see, I'm Shako Komi, but now I'm Shako-ana, but I'm not the Shako you know. You see, I'm from another dimension, but you and I were boyfriends, sobbing. Hidehito realizes that she is not the Shako he knows and approaches her to hug her. It was like this that Shako-ana told Hidehito everything, that she and her variant were boyfriend and girlfriend, but Ren Yamai killed Hidehito from that dimension, and Shako-ana killed Ren as revenge, but she ended up taking her own life because she didn't want to be with anyone other than Hidehito. Hidehito, after finishing listening to the story, hugged Shako-ana to calm her down a little. Shako-ana. I missed you so much, sobbing. But then Shako-ana takes Hidehito's cheeks and kisses him on the lips. This surprised him, but little by little he began to accept the kiss. Back at the Halloween fair. The Sanderson sisters were fascinated by modern things but had to adapt. But then Sarah asks Lincoln to join her in the can tossing games. Lincoln. It's simple, you grab this ball, showing a baseball, and throw it towards this tower of cans. If you knock them all down, you win a prize, smiling. Sarah. It sounds easy, smiling. Sarah then grabs the ball and throws it and to her surprise knocks down the tower. Then they give him his prize, which was a stuffed black cat. Sarah. It's very cute, hugging the stuffed animal. Lincoln. Congratulations, smiling. So the two went to eat something without knowing that Lincoln won the love of Sarah Sanderson. With Issei. They explained to Winifred about the roller coaster and they got on it where Winifred felt an adrenaline rush and had fun. When they got off she saw his picture. Winifred. That's a photo, surprised. Issei. If they take it during the walk, smiling. So they saw another attraction where they went to have fun for a while on the attraction of throwing darts to break balloons. Winifred was good at throwing darts where she hit all the balloons. Issei. Good aim, smiling. Winifred. You know, we had previously planned to steal the children's life energy, but because of what you did for me and my sisters, it's no longer necessary, smiling. Issei. Yes, but I'm surprised they're real, seriously. Winifred. Real, what do you mean? Confused. Issei. I'll explain it to you, serious. She explains to him that there were movies where she and her sisters appeared, and to make him believe her, she shows him a video about the movies. Winifred. How do you do that? Watching the video. Issei. I didn't make the video, but we'll keep you updated, seriously. They continued touring the fair to see what other attractions there were. Now the Sanderson sisters are real, but now they live in New Devon, you could say it's a Halloween with something unexpected. End of the Halloween special. Chapter 17. Factional trouble and an unexpected truth. Previously we saw how the group of betrayed celebrated Halloween where they went to explore some places on the island, but ended up summoning the Sanderson sisters, where they turned out to be real. But some were fixed on the protagonists, but would teach them to adapt to the new era. Present. We see Lincoln who was with Sarah Sanderson, she liked being with him. Sarah. Hey Linky, smiling. Lincoln. What's up Sarah, curious. Sarah. Hey, what do you call that food that is served cold and is sweet? Curious. Lincoln. It's ice cream. I'll take you to eat one, smiling. Sarah. Oh is so sweet, that's why I love you, blushing. Lincoln. Yeah, well, let's go for the ice cream, seriously. So they went for ice cream while Sarah takes Lincoln's hand. With Issei. He was doing some experiments with his suit to improve it or even make better weapons, and then he comes out with a new different armor. Issei. At least this suit is cool, smiling, but it wasn't noticeable. At that moment Issei went to see what Winifred was doing and he saw her getting ready for something and she saw him with his new armor. Winifred. And that armor, curious. Issei. It's my Winifred uniform, serious. Then he takes off his helmet and approaches her where Winifred gives him a hug. Winifred. You look stunning like this, smiling. Issei. I know, but what have you been doing, curious. Winifred. This is my first selfie, as you call it, shows her phone. Issei. It suits you well, smiling. Winifred. Hey, can you take me out to eat something? Blushing. Issei. Of course, smiling. Then they went to eat something but holding hands. With Hyoudou. This one was with Shakoana and told his friends that despite being Shako Komi, she is not a traitor, but at least she talked more and was not shy at all. We see Shakoana with Hyoudou where he showed her his red ring of anger power. Hyoudou. But at least I'm not in that mediocre city, seriously. Shakoana. Hey love, can I ask you for something? Blushing. Hyoudou. Tell me, curious. Shakoana. I want to go to the movies with you, blushing. Hyoudou. It's okay, smiling. They went to the cinema to see the Wild Robot movie. But the factions. After learning the truth about Makoto and Black Manta appearing out of nowhere and killing him, the girls were devastated after it was revealed that Makoto was a spy for the Chaos Brigade. Now we see the factions who were looking for Issei, but there was no trace of him, it was as if the earth had swallowed him. Sirzechs. This is bad since that idiot Makoto revealed himself to be a spy for the Chaos Brigade, everything got out of control, but who is this Black Manta guy, seriously? Azazel. I had to manage so they wouldn't kill each other, seriously. Michael. This is very serious. Auden. I had to stop Roswas from doing something stupid, seriously. After that they turn on the TV, but on the TV something is shown, and they see a fight between Black Manta and Rizavum, but to their surprise Black Manta takes off his helmet. Sirzechs. Wait, Black Manta is Issei, surprised. Azazel. But how did he get that technology, seriously? Michael. But wait, because he has silver hair and a strange aura, seriously. Sirzechs. We don't know, seriously. Then they see how the video cuts out, but they don't know where Issei went. Sirzechs. If he's still alive, we have to find him, seriously. Azazel. But as if we don't know where it is, serious. Michael. Go get some spies, seriously. Thus began the search to find Issei without knowing what awaits them. With Issei. This was a new invention and it was a motorcycle that doesn't need fuel. And then Issei jumps to activate the motorcycle. Issei was walking around his kingdom and saw that everyone lives their daily life, but at least they are where no one is discriminated against for their appearance or race. With Hyoudou. Hyoudou was testing a new armor he had built. Hyoudou. I like this outfit, smiling, but it wasn't noticeable. Then the suit disappears and at that moment Hana and Sona enter. Hana. Hyoudou, we want to ask you something, blushing. Hyoudou. Go ahead, say what you have to say, seriously. Sona. We want you to come with us to buy clothes, blushing. Hyoudou. Sure, okay, smiling. After that they went to the mall to buy some clothes, but in Hyoudou's case, he was going to buy other things for his museum. In Atlantis. We see Aquaman and his wife Mera, but they were still looking for their lost son, but they don't know where to find him. However, they decided to go out to see what they could find, and then they saw Lincoln. He was training without using his ultimatrix, but Aquaman and Mera noticed something in Lincoln, and it was that the movements were similar to the ones Aquaman used in combat, but Mera noticed that the albino has the same blue eyes as Aquaman. But Lincoln then stops training and goes somewhere else, but when the couple gets closer, there is a hair of the albino, and they take it to Atlantis. After examining the scientists they gave them the results. Scientist. From what has been examined, that boy is your son, the king and queen of Atlantis, seriously. Mera is in shock, her baby had appeared and it was Lincoln, but Aquaman is something else. He finally found his lost son, but then they were going to tell Lincoln the truth. Now the factions are looking for Issei, but they don't know where he is, but not only that, it was also revealed that Lincoln is Aquaman's son and what will happen next. See it in the next chapter. Christmas special. Winter had arrived in the kingdom of New Devon, and we see how the city was full of snow. You could see children playing in the snow and other people walking towards the stores to do their shopping. It was a special day where people were preparing for Christmas Eve and many had things planned for the night. In Issei's castle. Issei was decorating a Christmas tree he had bought. Issei with the help of Hyoudou, Hyoudou and Izuku were finishing decorating the Christmas tree. Issei. Christmas is my favorite holiday, smiling. Hyoudou. Yes, and even more so because we will be able to spend time with our loved ones, smiling. Hyoudou. Hey, what do you think if we make dinner after decorating the tree? Smiling. Issei. Sounds good to me, smiling. After a while they finished decorating the tree and went to prepare dinner for Christmas Eve. But the girls. Asuna and the others were doing some shopping at the mall because they wanted to look pretty for the night since it was a special occasion. Asuna. I'm glad you're joining us for these purchases, smiling. Hana. I want to look pretty for Hyoudou, smiling. Sona. Me too, smiling. Ermiko. For me, Hyoudou, smiling. Santanica. To me, my beloved bunny, smiling. Uraka. I think Izuku is cute, smiling. The others went to the stores to buy some clothes and other things. Later. Issei and his friends were preparing everything for the party. After a while they finished preparing everything. Issei. Wow, they really showed off at this party, smiling. Hyoudou. We did what we had to do and look how it turned out, smiling. Naoto. Now all that's left is for the guests to arrive at the party, smiling. After finishing decorating, the guests arrived and the Christmas party took place. There was Christmas music at the party and it was as follows. Issei. This party is great, smiling. After the dance we see them sitting in the dining room to wait for dinner to be ready. A few minutes later it was ready and they saw that there was a great banquet. The turkeys were also ready since Lincoln had prepared them. Lincoln. My own turkey recipe, smiling. Issei. Wow, you did a great job, smiling. The Sanderson sisters were already ready. They sat down in the dining room that was in the castle. Winifred. Wow, I see dinner is ready, smiling. Mary. It looks delicious, smiling. Sarah. Hey, what's next? Curious. Issei. I'm glad to spend this Christmas with you since I haven't had a good Christmas since my parents died, sad. Naoto. I know what happened to you was sad, Issei, but now this is our new life, seriously. Hyoudou. We are a family now, smiling. Izuku. Now we join in this amazing night, smiling. Issei. You're right, this holiday isn't about gifts or food, but rather enjoying the company of our loved ones, and you are my new family, smiling. Then they started to eat the food they had prepared for the night and after that everyone went to sleep. At night. Issei was asleep in his room with his loved ones, but now he had a new life, but suddenly he wakes up and then leaves the room and puts on his Black Manta suit because he felt that something was going to happen. But he wasn't the only one since Hyoudou and Lincoln appear. Issei. I see you can't sleep, seriously. Hyoudou. Yes, seriously. Lincoln. Hey, how about we go out for a while? Curious. Issei. It's okay, smiling. The three of them left the castle and went for a walk to see what they could do in the meantime. After walking for a while Issei finds a music box in the snow. Issei. Where did this come from? Confused. At that moment, Issei, out of curiosity, decides to activate it and turns the knob and the music box begins to play a song. Issei. The melody is beautiful, smiling. But then the music box started to shine and then the three disappeared in a flash. Elsewhere. The trio appeared in a snowy forest but did not know where they were. Hyoudou. Where are we, serious and curious? Issei. I don't know but something tells me there's going to be an invasion, serious. Lincoln. Hey, let's go before a storm hits, seriously. Issei. He's right, we're going on flying skateboards, seriously. At that point Issei takes out flying skateboards so as not to take too long. The three of them get on them and then travel several kilometers but then they see something that surprises them. There was a beautiful castle like in a fairy tale. Issei. Is it a fairy tale castle? Confused. Hyoudou. What's going on and why were we teleported here, seriously? Lincoln. Hey, look over there, seriously, and pointing at something. At that point the three of them look and see that there was a theater and they approach said theater where a curtain opens where there were three dancers. But the three of them started to listen to a music that they knew very well. Issei. I know that song, it's from the Nutcracker play, seriously. Hyoudou. If I remember, I went to that play when I was a kid, seriously. Lincoln. I see, no wonder it sounded familiar, seriously. At that point the three dancers continued dancing, but at that point all three were waiting for someone to dance with them. Issei. Hey, what if we dance with them, smiling. Hyoudou. They expect someone to dance with them, seriously. Lincoln. We can't leave them like that, it would be very rude, seriously. The three of them get on it and each one danced with a dancer. Issei danced with a blue-haired dancer, Hyoudou with a pink-haired dancer, and Lincoln with a white-haired dancer. All three knew how to dance to make everything go well. When each one finishes, she sees the boys with a beautiful smile. You are princes, let me introduce ourselves. I am Cassandra, the one with blue hair blushes. I'm Audrey, the pink-haired one blushes. I am beautiful, the white-haired one blushes. Issei. I am Issei and these are Hyoudou and Lincoln, smiling. Cassandra. They are handsome princes for dancing with us, blushing. Issei. We weren't going to let them dance alone, it would be. Audrey. Hey, how did you get here? Curious. Issei. Long story, seriously. After that Issei feels danger and sees what is happening, it was about some ice monsters. Hyoudou uses his ring of rage and Lincoln transforms into fire. And that Issei puts on Black Manta's helmet and the three of them fight against the beasts. But then Issei sees who was the cause of the monsters and it was Shalba Beelzebub. Black Manta. I knew it was the work of a demon, seriously. At that point he takes out some swords ready to fight Shalba. Shalba. I will take over this kingdom and there will be nothing you can do, mocking. Black Manta then fights Shalba, where both have a fairly even fight. But Black Manta blocks his blows as if he were something light and shoots lasers at him. Shalba. Ah, screaming in pain. In that, Shalba, in his desperation, attacks Black Manta but destroys his helmet. Shalba. You, annoyed. At that Issei decides to finish quickly and then uses Ultra Instinct surprising Shalba. Issei then decides to finish off Shalba and then he launches a powerful attack on Shalba, turning him into dust. Issei deactivates Ultra Instinct and then returns to the castle where they celebrate that the monsters were defeated. Then they discover that they were actually in a secret kingdom hidden in some mountains. Issei. Let's continue here since this place is nice, smiling. Hyoudou. Hey, aren't you hungry? Curious. Lincoln. Yes, let's eat something, smiling. After that the trio decide to stay a while longer in the castle, but at least you can say it's a magical Christmas. End of the special and Merry Christmas. Chapter 18 Jokes. Previously we saw how they spent Christmas in New Devon where Issei enjoyed spending Christmas with his friends and couples where they had a good time. But not only that, but he, along with Lincoln and Hyoudou, arrived at a place where there was a magical kingdom and they danced with some dancers, but an old enemy of Issei Shalba, Beelzebub, also arrived, but he eliminated him so as not to ruin the kingdom. Present. 3 months passed after what happened at Christmas, where Issei and the others returned to the kingdom of New Devon, where they told what happened, but Issei told them that they had to hunt down the survivors of the Chaos Brigade. Now we see the group training in the training room, but we see Izuku thoughtful. Issei. Izuku, what do you have? Serious and curious. Izuku. Guys, I have developed another power, seriously. Issei. What is that? Serious. At that Izuku turns around and his eyes shine green. Izuku. With this I can see everything, I can even predict the future, smiling. Issei. How nice, smiling. Then the others continue training, but then Lincoln decides to go somewhere else since he had something planned. Elsewhere. This appears in the underworld where he had a briefcase with many things, since he plans to make some jokes to those who betrayed Issei. First he went to the restaurant where the masks were, because he was strong and had the ability to hide his energy. Then he infiltrates and takes some jalapenos from Mexico, more specifically the hottest in the world, and puts them in a chimichanga that was for Sirzechs. After that he changes the water for jalapeno sauce and then hides. Luckily he hacked the computer so he wouldn't be seen. But when Sirzechs ate his chimichanga he felt a lot of burning and went for water, but there was only jalapeno sauce. Sirzechs. Sauce not water, shaken. In that Lincoln records everything, but the thing did not end there, since the albino put glue, and Sirzechs could not take off his hands. Then he went to where the Gremory clan was, and then he decided to play a joke on them too, and then he went to a bowling alley where Azazel was since he had gone to the underworld, and then he threw a bowling ball at him. Azazel steps aside, but the bowling ball falls on him. Lincoln. Silly crow, I'm not done yet, mockingly. Then he puts oil on his shoes and when he puts them on he slips and falls into a puddle when he leaves. Then he went to heaven where he saw Michael and came up with a plan. This one decides to use a more specifically ghostly alien. Ghostface appears in front of Michael and he was scared. Phantasmatico. Guhahahaja, look who we have here, the treacherous pigeon, mockingly. Michael. What are you talking about? Don't betray anyone, terrified. Ghostbusters. Now I'll show you something horrible, mockingly. Then he opens his cloak showing something terrifying, leaving Michael pale. Zombozo is Michael. Then Ghost possesses Michael so he can hit himself repeatedly with a frying pan and then made him paint his face, saying I'm a son of a bitch. Ghostbusters leaves since he was done having fun with Michael and then steals something, more specifically the Holy Grail. Phantasmatico. This will be useful, seriously. Then he steals other things and leaves the place, but he went to Asgard quickly and he made a joke to Odin. He transforms into a pest in order to hypnotize him. Molestalvo. Follow the sound of my voice, it would be. In that, annoying Alvo guides him until he reaches some hot springs where there were women. But then he releases him from hypnosis and hides. When everything becomes clear, the women scream in horror at seeing Odin and then they get angry and attack him. Odin. Not in the face, no, screaming in pain. Even Molestalvo recorded everything and went to Kyoto, but now he changes alien and is now Topik. Topik ends up in front of Yusaka where she looks at him confused. Yusaka. Oh, and who are you? It would be. But Topik doesn't talk to him and then the following happens. Imagine it's the negative version of Ben. At that Yusaka, seeing that, gets so terrified that she faints and then Topik changes to XRL8. Then he left the place to go somewhere else, but he took the objects he had brought. Later. Lincoln said that he played pranks on all those who betrayed Issei, where he told them that as a last prank, he left glue in the hot springs of all the faction territories. Issei watched the videos and started laughing as he found it very entertaining to see the fools who betrayed him suffering in the worst way. After that everyone goes to rest, but Issei went to sleep with a smile. Lincoln did him a favor by making jokes to the factions. But the factions don't know who is the cause of the jokes that will happen. See it in the next chapter. Chapter 19. Meeting the Justice League. Previously we saw the protagonists training, but we also saw something funny, and that was that Lincoln started to make jokes to the factions. How to change the water with hot sauce and also torment Michael and take the Holy Grail to prevent it from being used for bad things. Present. After the jokes to the factions where we see Issei alias Black Manta where he was with his armor. He was planning how to get rid of the factions so that they would not hurt anyone again and then be betrayed so he would not let any innocent suffer because of the supernatural. Black Manta. I'll see what to do with the supernatural, seriously. After that he went to see his friends where he saw that he was hanging out with the girls and after that he went to train a little. With Hyoudou. This one was with Hana and Sona in a room since he agreed to spend a night with his girlfriends and they were in a private room. Hyoudou. Girls, are you sure about this? Curious. Hana. Yes, dear, blushing. Sona. We have waited for a long time now, we want to make love with you, blushing. In that, both undress, remaining in their underwear. Hana wore a white bra and panties and Sona wore a dark blue bra and panties. Lemon skipped. Meanwhile we see Lincoln who was in the castle's music room and he is about to sing a song. After that he went to see Issei and saw that he was in the living room and both went to watch some movies where they went somewhere else. In that Aquaman and Mecha appear and they hug Lincoln and after that they went to a place where several people appear, they were the Justice League. I chose Zack Snyder's version. Batman. Arthur, who are they? Serious and curious. Aquaman. They are allies, but the boy is my son, seriously. The others were surprised by this revelation, but then they explained everything to them. Flash. They're pretty nice, smiling. Superman. Hey, we're sorry about what happened to you, but what are you going to do? Funny. Lincoln. Moving on with our lives, we're not obsessed with the past, seriously. Issei. If you guys at least do a better job than the factions, seriously. Wonder Woman. We know that, smiling. Cyborg. Hey kid, what device is that? Looking at the Ultimatrix. Lincoln. It takes a long time to explain, seriously. After that, the League got to know the duo better and later they agreed to visit New Devon and as a start to the alliance, they went to eat something. Later on. The Justice League arrived at the New Devon Empire where they saw that it was quite advanced in technology and there were animals that were supposed to be extinct. Then they went to a version of Central Park that was in New Devon. They see that the place was quite nice and there were several animals living in the park. Issei. This is like Central Park in New York, but this is my version, but here the animals can be fed without those silly signs, smiling. Batman. This place is nice, smiling slightly. Superman. Animals live here, smiling. Wonder Woman. And there are animals that are beautiful, smiling. So they see the whole place, but Issei makes sure they enjoy the park. Now they have allies for future problems, but Issei doesn't know what the factions are planning, what will happen. See it in the next chapter. End of chapter. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.